Sometimes forget how big he is. Just leave this in too. This is the Levels Network. I'm Justin Horo.
Yeah.
Joined by the Triple OG, Willie Mason, and the bro, Lukey Stowe.
Yeah, I like that jersey.
By the way, too, there was a comment that I read just this morning that your new name should be Lukey Lippmans.
The Lippmans.
Lukey
He got Lippmans. The Lippmans over here.
That's a fucking
Lukey Lippmans.
Here's an even better one. This one comes from William Essay to start it. Burton kicks high. Karaz whizzes by. Critter scores a try. Bulldogs in 2025.
Nice.
Shannon Sharp.
Yeah,
Shout
that's
out
good.
to the OG.
Shankle. Unk.
Big Unk. Shannon Sharp. Mate,
Yeah.
there's been a lot of better chat about this over the weekend.
Yeah.
You've rolled in.
Yep.
I'm so intrigued to hear your thoughts.
Okay.
Are you okay to mention that you've had a chat to
I've
both
had a chat, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, well, I just wanted to know
Spencer and JT.
Wanted to know what was going on with Spence and JT because I don't watch, I finished the game, I don't watch the after interviews or anything like that. And then I was doing something on Saturday and they go, fuck, what about JT and Spence? I think I was with Ciro and I was watching the SG Ball boys.
Okay.
Our young SG Ball. Anyway, congratulations. They got up against Cronulla in the semi-final.
Nice.
Anyway, Ciro's there. Look at first, Gus is there. Everyone was there and we were just all watching the game. And Ciro just goes, what about Spence? I said, what happened? And then he sort of told me vaguely and no one knows the truth or anything like what was happening. So I'll reach out to Spencer. I'll reach out to JT. And I said, JT, is this, he goes, is this
Is this how it went down?
Is this how it went? I said, is this how it went down? Like just... Because you hear rumours about, because it was the Ezra Mann thing, how we come out and he's very vocal about the Ezra Mann stuff.
So can you tell us exactly what the story you've told from JT and Spencer, and then I'll tell the audience.
Yeah, okay. Well,
the
JT's
rumours that have been, or the different stories.
So I asked JT, is Spencer blowing up because of the fact that you come out and said he deserved 14 weeks or something like that after the what he said about Ezra Mann?
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, pretty much. He was blowing up about that.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, whatever. I said, let me have a chat to Spence. So I said, Spence, what's happening? Is this about that? He goes, yeah. He goes, well, first of all, I said, so I told him, I said, look, I get what you're saying, right? I understand your thought process in that because he would have been hurt by JT's comments. JT's comments hold a lot of weight.
Yep, agreed.
Right? So he was like that. And then when Ezra Mann, no license, tested positive for cocaine, car crash, nearly hits a person, nearly kills a kid or anything potentially.
We all know the situation.
Yeah, we all know the situation.
Yep.
That.
9 games.
Crickets. Crickets from everyone.
Yep.
So this has been building up in Spencer's head, right? And then he's probably been waiting for this moment where JT was or something like that, right? So JT went up to him. So people got to understand, JT had someone in his ear.
Yep.
So he went up to Spence, goes, can I have a chat? Spencer's politely
on that specific game.
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
Specific, and then Spencer was professional about it. He goes, no, I don't want to have a talk. Did it properly. Comes again. That's the footage that you see. When Spencer's like...
Okay, let's just stop 1 second. So when did he originally ask to interview him? Because...
5 minutes before or something like that.
While the game's still been playing?
No, I don't know. Right at the end, right?
Yeah.
And then it was just... So the footage is on that is the second time he asked.
The tunnel. You're talking about the tunnel footage.
Okay, let's...
Or the phone footage.
I just want to clarify, because this determines how I feel about the situation.
Yep.
Because the reports are, and it looks like in that video... that the initial disagreement or words were spoken as Spencer was being subbed off the field. He was saying something to the Brisbane fans and then JT was in the vicinity and then apparently JT was sprayed then.
So it's happened before that. They've gone up to, you want to have a chat with JT, with Channel 9, they organised stuff before.
That must be before the game then, right?
Not
it has
before.
to be.
Well, I don't know.
Why would JT come up to Spencer during a game? That doesn't make any sense.
Because what's been reported is JT after the game was going up to Spencer, not for 9, and just going, hey, you gave me a spray while you're coming off the bench. What's doing?
Yeah.
That's what's being reported by 9 at least.
Well, he said he had a chat with him before, not with JT, with the Channel 9 people, going, do you want to have a chat with JT? Because probably the spray and everything like that.
Gotcha.
Right? And then he goes, no. I don't.
That's fine.
That's fine, right?
Yep, totally
and then I think JT's got it in the ears from the higher ups go and talk to Spence about whatever the fuck he's talking about, that's when Spence lost his shit.
Okay.
You know, he's like, I said no. He's like, I said no. You know what I mean? I don't want to talk. And you know what I mean? Like, and JT's not a confrontational person.
No.
He's not like that. He's just listening to the guys to go and to try and get fucking TV.
Yeah.
Trying to get Spence. Well, you don't do that to Spencer Leniu. You fucking see, he's a fiery human, mate. Holds that shit in his head. He's very emotional.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like he fucking sprayed JT because of what he said from the Ezra Mam situation, and then didn't say anything when the Ezra Man situation happened now.
Okay, so he thinks there's hypocrisy
everywhere,
JT.
and it's like, why didn't you say something about Ezra when that shit happened, and you come out at me and he's apologized and everything like that, and it's 14 weeks he wanted to, and he's built like that. He doesn't give a fuck. You know what I mean? And that's what I love about Spence. And I just told Spence, I said, look, mate, I love you, kid. You're such a great player and a great human. Handle it different.
Agreed.
That was my last words for him. I said, big boy, handle it different. Just when there's no cameras around, you're in the sheds, you go and speak to JT one-on-one like a man, and you get it out with him there. Obviously, there's no violence or anything like that, but JT's a very, a person who could probably say, I'm sorry. He's a very forgiving person. And at that moment, everybody's feelings were fucking high. You know, his emotions were high, you know what I mean? Like any Indigenous person got hit like that, like a ton of bricks, right? It was a lot of shit going on at that time, remember? JT said some things, a lot of other guys said some things, and like, we didn't know where we stood because, Spencer's a brown brother, you know what I mean? And Indigenous, and we're, and Choc Mundine was coming out, that. It was a very fucking emotional time for everybody.
Can I add something quickly?
So I said, just next time, or even in the next couple of weeks, go and talk to JT about it and end it.
I really agree with that.
That's all
last
I
little
said.
bit. I was doing radio yesterday, and apparently Mr. Exclusive come out. So what do we call him? Mr. Exclusive?
Exclusive,
yeah. Danny
Weidler.
Weidler. And he's obviously got a relationship with JT.
Yeah.
And the part where JT was confused about it all, not confused, but with Spencer bringing up the hypocrisy of him not coming out and say something on behalf of Ezra, is that he was never interviewed about Ezra the second time. So that's the part where JT was like,
and it's
hey,
like, I can't come out and just hammer Ezra.
Can you interview me? That's understandable.
Yeah.
All right, so here's my thing on it.
Yeah. So that's what I got from both these guys. JT got a little bit, sorry,
Yep.
this is my last bit. JT got a little bit rattled because he was like, shit, where's this coming from? Like, he probably forgot that Big Spence has been holding his shit in for like 12 months, a lot of time.
And it would have resurfaced around Christmas time.
Yeah. So a lot of that shit. And then like Spencer's about that life, mate. He's a straight up fucking in your face, doesn't muck around. And and hopefully this is the end of it. So sorry.
Yeah. Go. No, it's fine. No, I wanted you to get it all out,
all.
especially if you've got good information like that, because my take on it is based off different. It depends on what's actually true, is how I determine my take on it. Now, if Spencer had been bottling this up for 12 months now, was super frustrated how it went down and super frustrated at JT, and decided to spray JT.
Has it been that long?
12 months.
Fucking the first Vegas trip.
Yeah. And if he decided to spray JT, leaving the field in an emotional way in front of everyone with a packed out crowd, then I believe Spencer is wrong. Yeah. And to your point, he should have done it behind closed doors and handled it if he is still frustrated with JT like a man. Now, I can see the frustration from Spencer and fully understand him declining JT and potentially telling him to fuck off if JT had asked him for an interview when he's clearly not reading the room, because Spencer, you could imagine that Spencer would probably be frustrated with the way things went down in the past, and if if that is what's happened, and JT has gone to Spencer's gone, no, a decline, and then he's gone, all right, Channel 9 or whatever, whoever the media are trying to get me to talk to you about the game.
Get Billy to do it.
Then I could fully understand Spencer going, no, fuck off. I know where you stand on my situation, and then where were you when the Ezra situation happened a little bit later on. With all that being considered, it sounds like I'm sitting on the fence, but unless I know exactly what went down,
what went down.
That's where I sit on it. And the one thing that I can be that I've been firm on, and I've said this from the start, the NRL have played a part in this. And what I mean by that is the reason Spencer is frustrated is because the length of the suspension to Ezra.
Yep.
Now, I always said that Spencer got off really light. Ezra got off really lightly. He should have got a minimum, in my opinion, 12, which by no means would, I don't know, maybe who knows what Spencer. I can't put myself in Spencer's mind.
Yeah.
But maybe he would have been more satisfied with a harsher penalty for Ezra, because the thing that a lot of people were saying and going back to, which I think is really disappointing, is people were saying that Spencer's suspension was too harsh, which I don't agree with. Originally, when they come out and got Spencer for that, I think it set a tone and then it really let everyone know, the league-wide, that that's unacceptable. And even culturally, that's unacceptable.
Yes.
So the 8 was fine. The problem was the 9 for Ezra after.
But then
because you can't downplay the 8 for Spencer and then look what Ezra did and be happy with 9.
But I was looking at going, totally different circumstances, the racist remark to a
off-field indiscretion.
Off-field, just really stupid decision, right? I don't know how you measure that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, you have no license, you're under the influence, you hit someone, you could potentially kill someone.
Yeah.
That's never happened in our game.
No.
So therefore, the NRL just probably didn't know what suspension to hand down, right?
But can you agree that the one game difference between
fucking
the two
oath.
is way off?
I understand that, and that's where I agree with you. With the NRL, it's just like, okay, you say one name, it's a racist remark, doesn't belong in society, doesn't belong in our game, whatever. 8 weeks, 9 weeks. Okay, well then on the other hand, you've done this very wrong decision, right? That's at least a 12 to 14, or nearly sit the whole year out in my eyes, because you're potentially going to kill someone. You could potentially do that because of your decision, right? So I'm like, I would have if they had to come out and said Ezra got a year, I would have been like, I couldn't argue with that.
Yeah,
because
you would feel for him.
I would go, like, fuck, that sucks, Ezra.
Let me explain that, because I don't want people to say I feel sorry for Ezra in that situation. I'm with you. I just think the gap in between was short, but it had to be somewhere between the 12 to 16 range, because we want to eradicate and get rid of that shit that happened with Ezra and Spencer originally, and we want to make sure that not only us as a game, but the community understand that that's unacceptable. We understand that with the Spencer. Spencer got 8 weeks. So we all go, all right, that's no longer acceptable. The younger kids and people who follow the game go, that's unacceptable. We then don't, and by no means do I condemn Ezra, and I don't believe in second chances. But then you can't follow that up with the guy that was involved in that situation 9 months later and go, one extra game. It had to be a minimum of 12, and I think it was in the 12 to 16 range to make it.
Back to your point,
to send a statement, mate.
NRL's fault.
To send a statement to the community, to players, to Ezra. That's unacceptable.
Yep.
You cannot do that, and there are repercussions. I think the 9 was light, and that's where the core of the problem is.
Yes. So back to your point, the NRL's fault.
I think they played a part.
Fucking not the whole fault in this whole situation.
Yeah.
They should have given him.
It's a huge factor.
Yeah, it's a huge factor into Spencer Lenu's mindset.
Yep.
That's what it is, and that's what has created this whole drama, because he's been sitting on this for 12 months, and he's probably just going, oh, fucking, I've been in this position. Right? Someone's fucking wronged me in the media and say, I'll see you and I'll fucking give you, like back in the day, like in the 2000s, someone writes some shit about me that wasn't true. You're fucking getting it when I'm seeing you.
Have you had a couple of those?
Yeah, mate. And it's not about, it wasn't a player, because both back then it was Joey and like Freddie, and they were always, pretty good. They'd never ever talk about
a proper journo.
And they never been about fucking journo.
Yeah.
You get out of my vicinity if I'm doing an interview after the game. You know what I mean? Because they just don't cop shit, because they're a journalist, right?
That's a good point. I haven't thought about that.
It was a different thing. A different thing when it comes from a legend. It hurts you. Journos don't give a fuck about what you think or fucking write or whatever. Never cared. Still don't care. Still do not care about a journo writing anything about anything. You know what I mean? You haven't been there, you haven't lived it, I don't give a shit. Comes from JT, comes from Bill, comes from Joey, comes from Freddie, comes from all these legends that are on there. Gal, fucking everybody. You know, you're like, yeah, I care about what they say.
Yeah.
Because it holds weight.
It does.
Because they've lived it. They've breathed it. They've been out there in the battle of origin and everything, you know? And I'm like, okay, that would hurt me. That would hurt Spencer. Fucking, and it would be, you know, and he's an emotional man. He's a very emotional man. And I fucking love that because that makes him who he is. It makes me who I am. It makes us all what we are, right? You fucking play with emotion. You play with that and you get a chip on your fucking shoulder and you're just built like that. And I'm like, don't change, big boy. Don't fucking change.
No.
Be smarter.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Do you think there's some they can reconcile?
Fucking
this?
know if they can.
Do you think
Yeah,
they can
I think they can.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and I said to Spencer, I said, look, mate, JT's on a really, really close mate of mine, and it would have been. I know he at that time it was heated. Everyone's emotions very high. I said, but you need to sit down and have a coffee with him.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And I said, break your bread when you can.
Yep.
I said, because JT's one of the best humans in the game, and like at that time, it was very difficult for everyone.
Yep. Well said, mate.
Yep.
All right, let's get to our Red Bull OG Bull, and it's coming from this game too, Mace.
Yeah.
With all the drama that happened after the game, there was drama during the game, and it was coming from the fullback from the Sydney Roosters. He was causing dramas for the Brisbane Broncos.
Where's the Gamas everywhere? Bloody Teddy is on fire. And stats just say 20-plus runs, over 200 metres, probably 10 line tackle breaks,
Everywhere.
2 line breaks, whatever the stat sheet is, he filled it up. Did he get a try? He can't get a try.
No, he didn't get a
can't.
try.
He hasn't got a try all year.
He hasn't got a try. Him and Kalen still haven't scored too,
it's
by the way.
unbelievable, but they are doing some fantastic things. He's the form fullback of the comp.
Agreed.
He's the form fullback of the comp right now. Penrith's come down way back to the pack. Dylan Edwards is still Dylan Edwards.
He played well on the weekend,
I saw
didn't he?
enough for Dylan Edwards to go, okay, he's still going to get the nod for the Origin team.
But
if he's injured or if he's not going, Teddy's your boy. He's your boy. He's still there knocking on the door and he's just gone. I think mentally, he hasn't even thought about, I've got to play good and just get my Origin spot back, blah, 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 blah. No, I just got to play well for the Roosters, be the best top 3 player in that side, what he's been doing. And, mate, what a good fucking, you know, what a good little backup if he's a backup for that. Do you know what I'm saying? Pappy's going to say something about that too.
I like
our
that.
boy Pappy. But we are blessed with a fucking plethora of beautiful fucking great fullbacks because they are good looking blokes too.
do you know the irony of all this? And I fully agree with you.
Yeah, man.
At the back end of last season, I thought there's no way this isn't Dylan Edwards' spot for the next minimum of 2 years.
Yeah.
The irony of this is, I know Teddy played in Origin 1, but that was only because Dylan was unavailable. And then obviously Dylan goes on and wins the next 2 and everyone thinks he's a lock. The irony of it is, I thought Teddy was arguably the best fullback at Clubland last year because Dylan missed a whole heap of footy. He was good, don't get me wrong. He was really good for Origin.
I agree.
But
I agree.
when we associate the wear and tear for the Panthers over the last 4 or 5 years, fully understandable.
Yeah.
Teddy had been doing that for 8 years previous. Like he played in back-to-back grand finals.
2017, he's been
Origins,
the best. 17, 18, 19, 20,
finals
21,
runs.
22, 23. Yeah.
He's been doing Dylan Edwards stuff at the Roosters for 8 years. He actually benefited last year by not playing Origin. He got to concentrate on club footy. He didn't play Pacific Champions at the end of the year. He got a proper pre-season or off-season of rest. And now he's hit the ground running. And
31 years old.
I'm with you, mate.
He's still got a lot of football left in him. So when you play like Teddy, right? So I did the same thing. We all did. Cam Smith, Billy, and JT put it on another level, right? But mostly the greats have about a 7 to 8 year max peak, right? Mine was like probably from 2001 to 2009. And you're playing Origin, you're going on deep runs into the semi-finals, you're going on Kangaroo tours, you're playing Origin. You're away from your family, right? Over 100 days a year. That's a lot.
yeah.
Me having a young family now, if I'm away for more than 2 or 3 days, I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. You'd understand that too now.
Fully.
You really want to be there all the time. Training is they ask more from these players. It's obviously a lot smarter with sports science, but when you have no distractions about making rep teams and making Australian teams at the end of the year, and you're just concentrating on being the best Rooster or the best whatever team you're playing for, you can just front load into every single game, not worry about injury, not worry about form, just play your natural game. And that's what I think Teddy's doing. He's just like playing for. I've never seen him make more line breaks. But they just haven't been nailing him, right? No, line breaks just straight through the middle of the ruck. Nailed a couple on the weekend, but like clean line breaks like Teddy, straight through the middle. And he just looks sharp. He looks stronger. He looks fitter. Like, because he's got a whole preseason. Preseason's very important, right?
Just the rest of
very important, but just the rest of the body. You get a break at the end of the year. You come back, and he still wouldn't be doing everything that a young 22-year-old's doing.
You don't expect that.
Yeah, you don't expect that. You know Teddy's going to be ready for round one, but you're there the whole time. You're running all the routes, and you're getting all the timing right with your little halves and young halves, your centers. These young kids, they all haven't played together before. Teddy's a to everything, right? And I'm like, I look at it and go, I'm so happy for him at the moment.
Yeah, so am I.
I'm so happy for him because he looks happy. Roosters, if there's 2 games that they were in, they should have pretty much won.
Mate, I called the Titans and the Warriors game.
Those games, so you put 4 points on what they did. They might regret that at the end of the year.
Yeah, for sure.
Those games. But if they can keep playing like they did against the Broncos, we'll break that game down. That's a hard team to beat.
The Broncos game's probably more impressive than the Panthers game.
Easily.
Yeah, because I reckon they surprised the Panthers, and then the Panthers thought they could figure it out. But I don't know. Like, it's still an ambush type performance. But I'm with you. If they win those games, even one of those games, Dry Gray's been unreal, but he's leading Dally M's for sure because he was. I could have given him. Well, he would have got at least 2 points for the Titans and 2 points for the Warriors game.
He'd be up there. He'd be top 5.
Yeah.
I reckon. But good. That's my Mace. Mace's OG Bull of the week is Tedesco.
It's time for Scopes Red Bull Young Buck of the week, and it's going for the Gerringong Jr., Dylan Egan.
The little fiery redhead.
Oh, he's got a little bit of
strawberry hair.
He's got a little bit of Shane Shackleton about him, doesn't he, Dylan Egan?
No, he's not that redhead. He's not that. He's strawberry cream.
Super impressive, mate.
I like this kid.
He pushed an OG to the bench in Luciano Leilua. And Flano said after the game, it's less about what Luciano's doing and more about what Dylan Egan's done in his first 2 games. This is his 3rd game, Mace. He started on the left edge.
Yep.
And then he moved into the middle when Luciano came on, who had a really good effort and a really good presence and made an impact.
Yep.
But there's something special about this young fella, and he is exactly what you would want to be building if you're Shane Flanagan, if you're the St George Illawarra Dragons, if you're a fan, if you're a member. You look at the pathways, and I've always viewed the South Coast as a strong nursery.
South Coast, North Coast, very similar.
Always
blue
have,
collar,
right?
Blue collar.
Blue collar, hard working.
Still works.
This guy represents all of that, Dylan Egan, and this is what I'd imagine Flano's trying to build at the Dragons now. And now he's criticised for getting a whole heap of OGs. Got a couple of vets, brings in the Val Holmes, the Damien Cooks, the Clint Guthersons of the world. But it's buying time, and all 3 of those guys are high integrity, really good leaders, because you're trying to set example for some of the younger players that you're trying to bring through from the area, like Hamish Stewart and like Dylan Egan from Gerringong. Super impressive. Love the way he got through his work on the edge. I could sort of see it from his first carry against the Melbourne Storm that there was something about him. And not only does he play, he would have played all 80 minutes, so he shifted from the left edge to the middle back to the left edge. Got a nice little piece of meat right at the end as well as a bit of a thank you. And they blew out the Gold Coast Titans in a really good game. So shout out to Dylan Egan. Shout out to the Dragons. You got yourself a couple of really good young players. Love the Couchman twins.
If they can stay fit, the Couchman twins. One's always injured.
Well, Ryan just got injured ACL.
Poor buggy,
And Toby it looked like he rolled his ankle but still managed to play on in this game. Dylan Egan, Hamish Stewart, and our guy Loco Pacifici Tonga.
Yeah, Tonga,
There's a couple of good young forwards come through.
Lucci needs to lose 5 kilo, right? 5 kilo. Get back to his best when he was at the Cowboys, when he got Dally M back row of the year. He has got the potential. I don't know, but he got it before.
He can get it to the Cowboys. Maybe at the Tigers.
Fucks me, but he got it. I don't know. Is that transition when he Tigers to Cowboys?
Either way, 1 year got it.
When he's fit, The skill set on that man is massive. But he needs to be on ball all the time, and that's fitness levels.
Yeah.
You can't come back to preseason 7-8 kilos overweight, because I know what he looks like when he's fit.
Yeah.
And it's not that.
You know what? Yeah, and I agree with you. You can definitely.
He's a skill set that is there where he has got the silkiest touch. He hits like a truck, but right at the moment now, he like it's round 6. You should be like.
He was awesome on the weekend.
He was awesome on the weekend, but right,
Yep.
round 1, 2, 3, like that's why this young kid's taking his starting spot.
Yep.
That's
fair.
why. You know what I mean? So Luch needs to think in his head, all right, fuck this, I need my starting spot back. Get fitter, get more involved, and then he'll get his starting spot, because he's got so much talent. He's the X factor in that team on that left edge.
Well, so
if Val Holmes is there, and you see it on the weekend, we'll break that down.
Yeah.
The soft, silky touches that big man has,
Nice.
no one does that.
Yep.
And I really need him, and I love Lucci, but I'm like, I don't want him to be this every 2 or 3 years, get fit, not fit, all this sort of shit. This is a fucking professional game, mate.
He's always going to be a bigger body.
Don't give a fuck.
You can
Extras, lose weight, diet, all this kind of stuff. And people need to stay on top of him. He needs to have like little things in his contract, like if you're not at just say 108 by preseason, or just give him targets, don't play him. That's what Flano needs to do. Otherwise, if you don't, he's going to fucking roll up however he wants. So you got to put little stipulations in contracts with players like that, because they can fucking, sign a big deal, rest for a couple of years, play good on contract year. Even guys like David Fafita and all these sort of guys, those players need those fucking, bang. If you're not that, you're not playing.
Well, you always say it, iron sharpens iron.
Fucking oath.
He's got his motivator now.
Because he thought he never thought of this kid 6 months ago. He's like, I'll be starting back row for St George easily all year. I'd have to have one leg.
I think the bench could suit Luciano.
It could,
but I'm like, when he's out of the game,
when you're a starting player,
you want to be a starter.
You don't want to come off the bench. And if you're happy coming off the bench, not happy with your attitude.
All right, fair enough. This one comes from Martin Tisdale. Boys, the Wings for Life run does have an endpoint. So you race for as long as you can, hang on, before a virtual car that slowly increases in speed or real car in a select few locations catches you. The app is great, and it's a last person standing situation. It's a blast and gets competitive if you go to a spot with a lot of people. Plenty of professional Red Bull running athletes compete against each other all around the world. Red Bull run a live stream, and that's great. You can sign up with a team to get additional donations as a group. You could do it as a levels 1 year. It's a mad night. Love the show. Keep them coming. So, Mace, just for some context as well, this is happening while we're up at Magic Round, so unfortunately we won't be a part of it this year. And I know I don't
know. Okay, hey, I'll give you some.
You love pounding the pavement, mate, so maybe get a walk in here.
Yeah, I'll get a walk.
Okay.
We're going to be doing some training up there anyway. We're going to be up there from Thursday to Monday. So, like, I've been off the drink, obviously, for 14 weeks, and then I might have a crack on the Saturday, maybe, if it's all the stars align. But like most of the other days, Thursday, Friday, we'll be getting after it. So we're not going to be up there partying.
And by the way, we've got a big schedule with Red Bull, who we're going to be doing some cool stuff, stages, all that. So stay tuned for some more information about where we're going to be on the weekend. All right, let's get to replies for the weekend. Yep. Let's go down to Melbourne, mates. Going from Brisbane, Magic Round, down to Melbourne. Got a text here from Jarumain off the back of the MCG chat. I recently moved to Melbourne, and the Storm are definitely growing here. Last year, they averaged 20k in crowds. This weekend's game is close to a sellout, and the Anzac Day clash will likely be near capacity too. There's been a big increase in the Polynesian population in Melbourne's new outer suburbs, and rugby league fields are popping up in those areas. The government has even committed to building them a mini stadium out in Casey, which is a capacity of 4K. It's planned to host junior representative matches for both boys and girls, and also used for future NRL trial matches for both NRL and NRLW games. I think the MCG could work if they turn into a real event when the AFL teams are out of the city.
I'm not sure if you know this, but the NRL is putting a lot of money into Melbourne. A lot of money. I spoke to Freddie, and I'm not sure what the number is. Like, I think it was like 30 million or something like that into a centre of excellence to build that for the next for an academy down there.
Wow!
So obviously there is a big growth of Polynesians down there. So they're really trying to capitalise on that. Suafalonga come through that system, and so there's a lot of players down there, and some of them are playing AFL, right? Real young. So if that's a fitness component,
Yeah,
right? So a lot
that
of
makes
reached out
sense.
to me, right? And then I've had a chat. Like I got pulled over. I was just walking around Maroubra Junction, around my area, and then the fucking big van just pulls up. I was like, looked like a bunch of gangsters coming. I was like, oh shit, what have I done here? Anyway, father and cousin, and then had a little kid there, 16. Polynesian kid, fit as anything, plays AFL, loves rugby league, but lives in fucking down there.
Okay.
But
Mexico.
so they just pulled up. I said, okay, whatever. Like, what do you do? Like, he goes, I want to play league, but I play AFL. So he's fit as hell, right? I said, but you're built like a Polynesian. Your genetics are built for rugby league, but stay in AFL for the meantime. A couple of years, I said, no one's going to miss you, right? You're going to be in the system down there, and if you're good enough, the Melbourne Scouts will see you. And just keep playing, mate. Just keep playing. I said, but keep your AFL up because I know how much you run. Look at our game now, predicated on fitness. Fitness, and he's big. He's like 6'3" or 6'4", 100 and like just a 5 kilo lean, like 16, right? I'm just like, and he's half cast. I said, just keep doing it. So reach out to me whenever you want, right? If you need any advice or whatever it is, I said, but just keep doing it. I said, because AFL. Skills, both feet, kicking, all this kind of stuff, like really well-balanced athlete he looked like.
Yeah.
Keep doing it. And he goes, what about weights? So I give him a little bit of a program, this and that, what to work on, sprints, blah, blah, blah. I said, but if you're good enough, Frank Panisi and all those sort of blokes, they'll get you. And he's out in the country, out near Albury or something like that. I said, just keep rolling, mate. But he goes, there's heaps playing AFL.
Wow.
And then because there's no real comp for a rugby league sort of thing. So like you either get picked up into this sort of is centre of excellence, which they're trying to get all the best kids in Melbourne country, right? There's hardly any in the city, but they're all in on the outskirts.
That's super interesting.
Pretty
Like
interesting,
even
because Freddie told me they're putting a lot of money in.
it's a good point about the conditioning and the skill set, bringing it back to if you get Polynesian. I wonder if we'll see Polynesian kids start to break into the...
No, you will. You will. There was a young Fijian guy who was playing. Obviously, Nick Nat knew he was full Fijian, but he was brought up over there, genetically freak. But there's a few going through the ranks that are like half cast.
Yeah.
Samoan, half cast Tongan. One played for Port Adelaide. There's a couple. Not household names, but they're sort of coming through.
There was a guy
Give it 10 years.
that I played local footy with growing up, and he's Fijian as well.
Yeah.
And his young fella... he's a part of the... I've just seen it recently too. He's part of the great GWS academy system.
They're coming through.
Yeah.
They're coming through. But they'll end up going, I'm 6'5" and naturally like 110 kilo. That's very big for, full forward.
Yeah, depends. Yeah, they'd have to strip down.
You got to, and that's a big thing. If you're, and especially if they're going to be full forwards and like Fev and all those sort of like, Fev's a big boy.
Yeah,
Fev was like 6'4",
Fev's huge.
105 kilo, fit as hell.
When did we run into him last year? Melbourne game 2.
Yeah, Buddy Franklin, 6'7".
Yeah.
I mean 6'6", but very lean. Like that's what GI could have been.
Yeah,
but we need more muscle mass.
Yeah.
And there's just I'll give it about 10 years, but there's a lot of people down there. But
remember when Izzy Folau went over?
Izzy Folau, yeah, he fucking went all right.
Yeah, he went all right.
Carmichael Hunt went all right.
Yeah.
Like like going to that game is the hardest thing you'll ever do. The crossover in that sport, totally different than what we're doing.
Yeah, it's not even close.
But back then, look at these crowds, 20K. That's pretty good.
He's
Melbourne.
He's one what makes sense for you off the back of it too. Just before you we'll finish up and put a bow on this. So g'day lads. This is just a follow up to the question in regards to the NRL hosting a game at the MCG. To my knowledge, they want to host a game at the G, whilst this round. The AFL, all the teams are at gather round in Adelaide.
In Adelaide, yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
If they're able to pull it off, that's 100% the round.
But that just happened this weekend anyway. And
that's what they want to build for in
for next year.
Yeah.
And that's why they could do Perth this weekend as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Because there's no Sydney, there's no game. There's no game in Sydney for the weekend gone, and there's no game in Melbourne, right? So there is a gap there in the market, but I'm like, still, it's the MCG. Yeah. Like, I get it. Maybe Eddie had something like that where it's 80,000. You can. I'm not sure. I just don't want it to look stupid, right? And I just don't want it to look like a pin drop because the MCG is fucking massive. And on the weekend, they didn't sell out yesterday at Amy Park.
I believe they did.
Yeah, it looked like it did. They say they always sell out, and there's probably about 10,000 seats spare. It looked like I was watching this. It's not sold out. They always say sell out. It's not sold out. That was not sold out. Amy Park was not sold out. It's
Yeah.
about.
I didn't look close enough to have
Yeah,
an
I
opinion
did.
on
That's
that.
all I look at
Yeah.
because when they say sold out, it's it's not.
I've seen
But MCG,
I've seen events like that before where they say
exactly. I
sold out,
always
there's
say
plenty
that.
of seats.
But MCG is a different beast. I mean, like, can we get like 60,000 there?
I think that's realistic.
But they look good at Etihad.
Yeah, it goes.
Selling the G out is, we've been with the Origin.
it's
And there was still a
ambitious.
gap in Origin when we were there.
It's ambitious.
There was
isn't it?
90,000 in Origin, and I'm still like, this is not capacity. Do you know what I mean? It was Origin.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's very ambitious. Might as well give it a crack. It's probably the last time they will.
All right, Australia's largest fishing competition is on again. The Pertec Fishing Challenge, having now run for 17 years, is alive and well. This year, there is $336,000 in cash and prizes up for grabs. The biggest year ever, MASE. So the event supports two amazing charities and has done so for all 17 years, raising money for prostate cancer, neurological diseases like MS, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. So for a really good cause. And the event is on April 26th and the 27th of 2025. You can enter now and get out and go fishing. The website is www.pertecfishingchallenge.com.au. Lukey will chuck that in the bio as per. Now, the competition we're running for it, mate.
Okay.
We mentioned on Thursday, if you could fish with one NRL player during the Pertec Fishing Challenge, who would you take and why? Funniest or most creative combo wins the rod, and real combo valued at $250 of the best. Thanks to Pertec Fishing Challenge. Now, I'm going to read out 4 for you. And you can sort of give us our favourites, but maybe how do we get the audience involved as well to sort of help us decide, and we'll announce the winner on
Just
Thursday.
keep commenting. And if there's a good one, just give it a like.
All right, so currently we have 4, but someone can blow these 4 out of the water, and if they come up with a really good one in this episode, then that could be the winner. But I'll read you a couple.
I just read the
Are you reading Little Rojo?
Yeah.
Players I would want to go fishing with, and this for me is winning right now. Jack Whiting, Flake Laurie, Jack Harrington, Rock Cod Berry, Liam Marlin, AJ Breamson, and Kurt Cartwell. That's got to be the winner, right?
That's what I was looking at that going, Jack White, Flake. I was like, oh, good one.
This is a good shout for
That's
someone
great.
who is actually serious about his fishing, and I know this is a good one from Floozer, at Floozer. Sup, lads, for the fishing question, I would take Tomato Martin. He does it all, fishing, diving, and hunting, also hunts deer and pigs.
Wow.
And plays NRL on the weekend.
Did not know that.
Yeah, he is a proper... If there was
He's like
a nomination for a guy at the end of the world or something, you needed someone to have you back.
Bear Grylsy.
He hung out
Bear
with Scotty.
Grylsy, very Bear Grylsy.
He hung out with Scotty Bolton when he was up at North Queensland. That's what I reckon.
You know what? It's weird. A couple of weeks ago, Joey messaged me randomly, and he's asking me about my iwi and my tribe back home.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is this is
Awesome.
kind of out there. Anyway, he'd been chatting to Tomato Martin a fair bit. And they're going to go fishing together in the off season. And I said to Joey, I said, oh, there's something there. There's some, as soon as you hear Joey start talking about going to New Zealand for a fishing trip, and I said, he does all hunting and all that sort of stuff as well. Maybe we get a cameraman and we go to New Zealand and do a little.
Fuck, I wouldn't mind that.
Little weekend vlog with Joey and.
That'd be good. That'd be fun, man.
Something like that would be different for our audience, wouldn't it?
Just someone who can catch a fish. Apart from those other blokes in Auckland. Remember that?
They were just a good fun and a few beers, weren't they, those lads? This one comes from Simon Roth. This one's a little bit different. I personally would take Jack Howarth fishing for 3 reasons.
Okay.
Firstly, he's a mad. He said he's keen. He's a mad keen fisher who had admitted on the 167 podcast, which is our man Money, Pappy, and Jerome Hughes. His dream job outside of footy would be to have a fishing charter. Secondly, he's a Keanu Reeves lookalike.
Yep.
Who is one of my all-time favourite actors.
Yep.
And apparently one of the all-time great humans too, Keanu Reeves. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he
There's
does a
always
lot.
good
He's a
stories
very,
of him just catching the train and
Legend
randomly through
human.
New York.
Philanthropist. Love it.
He does got a lot. He's got a bit of Keanu Reeves about him, a bit of Point Break, doesn't he? Early Keanu, Jack Howard.
John Wick.
John.
That's what I want. He's the early Keanu Reeves.
Early Keanu.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yeah,
Keanu
Reeves.
Reeves.
He is.
He ain't no John Wick yet.
Lachlan Atkinson has selected the cheese. I'm taking the cheese on a boat because that man would be fun for beers and a chat. Half the fun of fishing is just nonsense. You talk and that man could do it. So Cheese is a good shout.
He'd be good.
All right, let's get to...
I don't understand why no one said Latrell Mitchell.
There was one on Latrell.
Trell Mitt's always out there.
There was one on Trell Mitt, but maybe get in your best Trell Mitt one and let us know why Trell Mitt, because he loves it.
He's got his own
So
thing
we'll
going
pick it
on.
from this episode and last episode. So get your comments in, and the winner for the rod will be picked on Thursday.
And for those who have just missed it or maybe just tuning in, that is a rod and reel combo valued at over $250. So let us know. All right, let's get to some YouTube questions. This one come off the back of... I believe Dean Witters brought it up on the NITV, and it's the Indigenous in the Pacific Cup, and it comes from Rose Thorpe. Be deadly if you fellas could speak a little on having an Aussie Indigenous and New Zealand Indigenous side in the Pacific Cup. Be good to hear both of your perspectives on this. Mel come out saying Indigenous Aussies players should be put in Australia first. Mace, I'll kick off with this one just from my part of it. I'm a proud, my family is New Zealand Māori and heritage. I got the one opportunity to represent the New Zealand Māori in an exhibition game against England, and that was the highlight of my career. It was. I would have loved to have played for the Kiwis. And my biggest pushback on this too, and I can't speak on behalf of the Indigenous brothers, but I can just speak about being a New Zealand Māori, is that I would never play in a competition as a New Zealand Māori or New Zealander and be picked for either and then play against each other. That just wouldn't... No. That just wouldn't feel right. Like whatever side I was on. Yeah. I just don't think it makes sense to have
it doesn't.
For our side and then maybe potentially the Indigenous side where
the Aussies would be feeling like that as well. Like, I mean, like you can't be you're Aussie Indigenous, but you want to play for Australia. That's what the Indigenous games about. Representing that in those games, at the start of the year. You can't have this in the Pacific Cup. No. You just can't. It's just so it goes it's a little bit contradictory, right? You just you said you're a proud Māori man and you want to play for New Zealand. Yep. And Indigenous, you'd love to represent your Indigenous people, but you want to play for Australia as well. You get the chance to do that. Yeah. It's already there. It just can't be involved in the Pacific nations.
And I'd hate to see an Indigenous team play Australia. That just wouldn't feel right.
No, it wouldn't feel right. And it wouldn't feel right playing New Zealand versus bloody,
Yeah, the same thing.
Back to your thing. You would have been fucking close to getting picked in 2013 World Cup, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Steve Kearney called me before the grand final. And said
I was just watching that. That was one of your best years.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
Yeah.
I hate to bring that up, but it was like, that's when Sonny and all that played.
Yeah, Sonny played.
Yeah, that would have fucked you.
Yeah. No, you know who got fucked the most? Tohu Harris. And Tohu Harris.
I didn't even know Tohu was playing back then.
That was Tohu's first year, right? So I got a call from Steve, and Steve, which was a cool moment because you got to remember, Steve dropped me at Parramatta and didn't play me first grade in 2012. Yeah. So to call me in 2013 was cool after back of a big season. And I reckon I would have been the next one after potentially Tohu Harris, who had a really good rookie season that year. So Tohu made the initial squad. Remember, Sonny declined playing for New Zealand originally, and then he changed his mind after the squads had been named. And then they dropped Tohu to account for Sonny. That sucks, So I would have been devastated if I was in Tohu's position. Yeah. Obviously, Tohu's different because he was, he was such a young player. He went on to play for the Kiwis and had a really strong career.
No, you would have been very close that year.
That would have been my only year. But I was. We had Simon Mannering, Frank Pritchard.
You had a good back row.
Sonny Bill. Jeremy Smith.
No, he's had a decent. What's his name? Proctor.
Kevy Proctor potentially.
Was he around?
Even Louis Brown was a hybrid player who could play centres
had some
back row.
Good back rows.
So the back row was always been stacked for New Zealand. But that's the closest I ever got. This is a question about Suncorp. And this one comes from Sim Says, what makes Suncorp special? L1 from day 2 here. Question for you boys. What makes Suncorp Stadium such a great stadium? Is it the atmosphere from the crowd? Is it the pitch? Or is it the history from all the great matches and that have been there and that just give off an aura?
It's a hard one because we never got to play at Lang Park. And there's obviously history in Lang Park, but it totally looked different. So we don't look at it like Lang Park.
When did Lang Park change to Suncorp?
Oh, it would have been
97, 96?
Late 90s, yeah. Late 90s. Because they played early 2000s, because I know they played at, the Union Ground over there, ANZ Stadium they called it. Anyway, but it's the way the crowd plays a big part, the atmosphere, and the way the stadium's built. Right, it's very high. It's like a coliseum, very up and around, the noise goes
It's just perfect, isn't it?
You know what I mean? Like you can get 90,000, 100,000. I played 100,000 people at Homebush, right? But because it's out like that, so it's really round, and it's like, okay, we don't really feel that atmosphere. Plus, the people and the demographic is a little bit more. They're not as intense.
Yep.
You know, Queensland just love it. They love Suncorp.
Yep.
Origin, there's no feeling like playing an Origin at Suncorp or even watching a game at Suncorp. If you haven't played there, or if you're not a player, whatever, go watch it. Do yourself a favour and watch a game at Suncorp. It's a whole different energy.
I would just add also
It's fucking scary.
Yeah, the surroundings of Suncorp too.
That's a hatred. It's a lot of hate, right? So like, just say me playing up there, you run out, right? They let you run out. I think I've spoken about this before. They let you run out first, and it's just fucking booze as loud as you can, and I can feel it's really projected at me because you can fucking hear it. And then like they let you sit out there for like a minute and a half, 2 minutes, right? And then they will play all the fucking tries that Queensland scored against you, holding trophies up. So it's a mental warfare thing, right? So you try not to face the fucking the screen out there when you run out. They're just playing it, all the wins that they've done from fucking 1980s, Wally Lewis, this, that, into the new generation, just like really fucking with your head, like, holy shit. And then they run out, flames and shit like that. The crowd, then when they run out, you cannot hear yourself think, right? That's how loud it is, right? 52,000. It's only 52,000 packed. You can't hear yourself think. You can't hear me when I'm talking. Makes you feel fucking like unbelievable. Can you imagine how they feel? Superman. That's why you get these fucking average sort of Queensland players playing like
go to another level. Lights
out animals, you know what I mean? So that thing, and Queensland, and even with the Broncos have that, you have that sort of feeling, but just not that hatred. But the fucking stadium itself is just built for rugby league. It is built for rugby league. When you pack that out, even you get 40,000, you get 45,000, you still feel it. Even on the weekend, it was pretty packed, over 40,000. But when it's Origin time, do yourself a favour and just go to that Origin one. Nothing worse. We've been to a decider, right? It's just electric. The people are like, there's hatred. It's a proper hatred.
Enjoying himself at the...
Lukey had about 10 Bundy rums in fucking 10 minutes.
He was talking some mad shit.
And talking shit. And we won too. So fuck it.
You had your gig on, and we had the Usos up the back behind us. And it was like...
You need to be in a good fucking... good section.
It was Lukey and the Usos up the back, and then all the rest were just Queensland supporters, and just Lukey was carrying on a treat.
Yeah, good.
Even to the point I was like, all right, Lukey, sit down now. Fucking calm down. Sit down. Going to get his fucking
lucky. If you're winning, you're sweet, right? If you're winning, it's all good, because most of my experiences at Suncorp, you're losing. And it's like, I won one game at Suncorp. And then, like, obviously doing some stuff in the last sort of, 4 or 5 years, going up there to do events and everything. We've lost those ones as well. So that little walk, that's what I love, that little walk last year, we actually won. And did you see how they reacted, the Queenslanders? Like it was the fucking apocalypse. You know what I mean? Like just something happened. No one's cheering. No one's like yahooing. And I was just like, wow, that's how serious they take it. People in tears. It's like, oh my God, Queensland lost. They couldn't believe it. We're going, fuck yeah. And Lukey was up there. We were interviewing fucking Block of Roach and stuff like that.
Block of cheese.
Oh, it's a different, there's no experience like Suncorp. That's what I'm saying. You can go to Homebush, Acor, you can go to Acor, you can go to Allianz, and it won't be the same. Suncorp's the best stadium in Australia.
I've got a hypothetical for you, for a couple of our ex-teammates. Run it straight challenge, and we'll give you some more information with some stuff coming up very soon. This one comes from Neil Davies. How do, lads? Scope, Mace, a couple of Manly vets. I want to get your thoughts on an option. And a hypothetical on this one. Who comes out on top of a run it straight challenge between Shoulders Matai and the Jukebox Tafua? If they went head to head. Shout out to the Jukebox, still getting after it over here.
Is the Jukebox still going?
With the Bradford Bulls. I'd never heard the Jukebox before.
You don't know who the Jukebox is?
No.
Oh my God. So 2008 World Cup. He plays for PNG. And he was just like smacking Tatey, smacking Lockie, smacking everyone. And they call him the Jukebox because he does nothing but hits.
Well, I think they're calling Georgie Jukebox now.
Because he does nothing but hits.
Yeah.
So the OG 08 PNG, I'm not sure what his name is.
That's a sick
Jukebox.
nickname. That is a
Because no
sick
one knew
name.
his name. He goes, he does nothing but fucking big hits.
I love
He's
that.
the Jukebox. That's the OG Jukebox.
See if I can get it.
I was going to say.
No. So they'll be coming off Jorge Tafua.
His name is Menzie.
Yeah, that's him. He's the jukebox. He fucking pumped you. There's footage. Yeah. He got Tatey. That's why Tatey's wearing that fucking neck brace.
Yeah.
From him and Francis Melly.
Yeah.
Around about that same era. And he got Lockie. He got everyone. He was.
I can't believe I've never heard of
the
him.
jukebox.
Say his
He's
name
the
again,
OG
please, Ricky.
jukebox.
Menzie. A formidable centre known for his powerful tacking and
How do you spell it, mate? Sorry?
Menzie,
Yep.
and then Yere.
No, but how do you spell Menzies? Like
Menzie, like Menzie.
Oh, yeah.
He played for the Sheffield Eagles, 2009 to
Far
2020.
Don't run at the jukebox. That's all I know.
Amassing
Did you say Y-E?
R-E.
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 Yeah. Yeah, the jukebox is a machine, so that's why they're calling Jorge.
That's the
Tafua
fucking maddest nickname.
Yeah, it's cool. Anyway, I don't think anyone wins that. It's going to be one of those. It's going to be one of those. You know, you just sit there and you just like two of those Rams go. Nobody moves.
Are you looking up his big hits?
No, I'm just looking at his stats and that. I'm a rugby league project.
So what do you reckon, Matai or Tafua? I think they're similar builds and they're too strong.
All I know is no matter who. No matter who wins out of this, David Tyrrell still loses.
I don't know. We just say, okay, let's just really think about it. I think they both go down. Like, just say, like, if Georgie runs at Skivvy, Skivvy pumps him, and then Georgie pumps Stevie.
Whoever's tackling wins.
I think. I don't think there's no one's meeting because they hit too hard for fucking just to jolt like that. No. They're both going on their asses. They're too fucking. They hit too hard.
There's two YouTube compilation videos you can go treat.
Yeah, you can watch a jukebox.
I need to watch a jukebox. Yeah, mate. I'll give my jukebox take on Thursday.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm sure that we have a heap of Papua New Guinea fans that listen to us, so they'll be screaming in the comments about the jukebox. All right, let's get to the games now. This felt like it was 2 weeks ago, but the Dolphins beat the Panthers 30-12. The scoreline for me doesn't really reflect the game. The Dolphins were under the pump for so long, Mace. They took their licks, and then when they got the chance, they went bang, bang.
It was good, man. They played good. I told you to tip the Dolphins. They look like a genius. And this is the one where I got the Panthers. I'm just like, now I'm really done with the Panthers.
Yeah.
I'm really done. They had Dylan Edwards. They had Cleary. They were doing so much. They looked tired. Yowie looked tired. He looked really tired. Yowie went off. You know what I mean? This is what happens when the shoe's on the other foot with the field position. You know, like when you're completing at 65%, like last 5 years completing well over 80%, field position always on the front foot, never on the back foot. This is what happens when you're on the back foot.
What about the Dolphins, how brave they were?
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Katoa, right? We talk about 10-year deals.
Yeah, would you give him 10?
I'll give him 10 years because he's 20 and he's 21. So he comes off at 31 and he's probably still got another 5 years in him.
Did you see the way he just rolled out? Like, I'm really big on mannerism, though you are too. Just the way a guy carries himself.
Yep.
Fuck,
He's a leader.
He looks like a leader at 21.
He's a leader already, and I think he's well-spoken. He's someone that you can build a club around. And I'm just like, okay, that's someone I'd go, okay, I'd give him a 10-year deal. I would. Not sure. I think I'd maybe let him have another year or two so he gets about 22 and then give him a 10-year deal.
Well, unfortunately for Katoa and his management, they just got a deal done last year or potentially at the end of last year. They re-upped him nice and quickly. If I'm the Dolphins, now there were rumours circulated from Bears Head, a.k.a. Brian Fletcher, that there was people off the back of the Dylan Brown situation just knocking on the door, just seeing where Isaiah Katoa's at. If I'm the Dolphins, I go, whatever we were paying you, fuck that. We're going to give you more money and get it done.
Because he's only getting better.
He is going to be a player, isn't he?
He's only getting better. He does all the little things that the vets are doing at 21.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He squares up really good. His kicking game is brilliant. His defense is awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he digs into the line.
Did you see the hit on Lindsay Smith?
Yeah.
Like at the 25-minute mark when Lindsay Smith was fresh
and
off the
he's just
bench?
like, who the fuck hit me?
He was.
He thought it was Finny Fuiaki.
He was.
It was Katoa.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, because I like that. I had lunch with Joey, I think it was on Friday.
Yep.
On Friday. We were both saying...
Joey froths him, eh?
Yeah, Joey loves it. But I'm just like, well, obviously Joey knows his footy, right?
Yeah.
And he looks at all the little intricacies and all the nuances and all that kind of shit, what a 7 should look like and how he should play. He's doing all that shit that a 26, 27-year-old should do.
Yeah.
And all he's going to do is get better. Surround himself with better players, and he's just going to run. He could get the Dolphins up there into a top 8 team.
The Dolphins have got a team.
Yeah.
They just had to get that monkey back off their back with the Wayne. You know, Wayne moving on.
But once there's a couple of games there that they should have won.
Oh, the Rabbitohs game. They'd
Yeah.
love to have that back.
Yeah,
and then the travel at the start of the year.
Yeah.
And they finally got Hammer unlocked too.
Hammer unlocked. You mean?
That's the strategy.
You got unlocked. You know, he was just
Yes.
fucking playing awful at
Yeah.
the start of the year. It just looked like he wasn't involved. He didn't. I don't know what was wrong with him. He wasn't peeling off and fucking 100% running. And I was like, and I think he was injured. Has to be. He wasn't playing. It just wasn't. It just looked like he wasn't on ball all the time. Now he's just like, okay.
He still needs to just sharpen up his good ball stuff. Like that needs some work. But no, you're not going
He's
to.
a very important part to that fucking Dolphins team.
Oh, huge.
It's Katoa and him and Herbie. So you got those 3 guys in the back line.
And Marshall
that are
King.
fucking guns.
Marshall King.
Like they're some of the best in their position. They're top 5 players in their position in your back line. That's enough to be a top 8 team.
Yeah.
You got 2 wingers that are guns.
Yep.
You know, like Katoa. I mean, what's his
Asako.
name? Asako's fucking unbelievable.
Yep.
Bostock goes good.
Improving. Yeah.
Avarillo's fast as shit.
Did you see Joey's talking about him during the coverage on Friday? He was saying, mate, he could be a smoky for Origin a bit, and then he did that kick and
Who's that?
Bostock.
Bostock, yeah, it was
you know
awful.
when he tried to move the ball?
Terrible.
But apart from that, he was unreal.
Yeah, and I just think they've
That's
got
a huge rep from
they've
Joey
got a
as well.
team. They've got a team there.
Yeah.
Gilbert's an animal. Plaff's an animal. Kafusi's an animal.
Daniel Saifidi.
Daniel Saifidi's playing some fucking really good football, and I'm like, that's a top 8 team if they can get their shit together. With Katoa playing consistent, right? He got dropped by the end of last year, right? So that's going to be a learning curve to be consistent every single game. It's his team. It's his team. Fucking Herbie. Oof, that's a man.
Herbie is
He's fucking playing good.
when they're on the front foot, Herbie and Averillo, they're like sharks. They go looking for blood. You know, if you give them an opportunity, very rarely do you see centres have an impact like they do in this day and age. But whenever they're on the front foot, and I've said this before, it can sometimes be a detriment to the shape. Because Herbie goes looking, especially when things aren't happening.
Yeah,
when they're on the front foot, fuck, he's dangerous.
But sometimes defensively, like where Penrith really fucked up a couple of times, like it was like just like right side of the post, bang, bang, pass, early ball to fucking to Herbie. In and away, line break. Back into Hammer. Like very bad defense from Panthers, but pull the trigger when you can. Don't have that settle it up for another one, because then the defensive line gets set and you can handle him. You handle Herbie.
Transition attack is so important now, isn't
but
it?
when you can pull the trigger really early on a third tackle in the midfield, bang, 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 look what happened. Try.
Yeah.
They did that a couple of times and they scored like 40, 50-metre tries. It was quite easy. Averillo skinning them, down the sideline because they're so compact, Penrith, and they come in and they work out.
And they've got young players in those positions.
And they've got young players that they're not the same, obviously, as they were the last 5 years. They haven't been in that system. The Casey McLeans haven't been in that system for long. I expect more from Tungo. And Alamoti's playing on the wing. You know what I mean? It's just like all over the shop. The young centre runs the ball. Jenkins goes good, but he hasn't been in that system. He's just been in the younger system. So it's a lot of teething problems now, right? With the edge players. Middle's still good. They're not breaking through the middles. You still got Leota. You still got Lindsay Smith and Yowie, Liam Martin, Sorensen. But they look tired.
Here's the biggest part that I took away from Penrith watching the game. So when I think about how successful you've been at the Bulldogs, there's a clear structure behind the defence, and we've talked about it before, the gang tackling. So much dead wood for the Panthers at the moment.
You never see it, do you?
And what I mean by that, for people who aren't aware, when you gang tackle, it's a real team-first mentality. But if someone keeps fucking it up it turns the strength into a weakness. So when you continually have 3 and the 4 in the tackle and then a guy doesn't finish his job, he falls off on the ground, you then lose the tackle, you don't get the numbers back in the defensive line. So what should have been a strength ends up becoming a weakness.
Yep.
And then you end up getting stripped on the edges with these young edges who make poor decisions, but it's because they're not controlling.
Let me elaborate on that more. See, right? So when you are gang tackling, when it's a winger, whatever, 2 come in, so just say you'll run the ball. My objective is to get the ball, hold the ball. Next one hits you from, just say, your ribs sort of thing.
Yep.
Other one tries to get a leg, drive you back, whatever it is. Try and get you north, trying to get you east-west, right?
Push you off your spot.
But don't lose grip, right? You've got to stay in tight. Your head's real tight. They call it pythons, right? Get in there, squeeze as hard as you can on the ball, squeeze as hard as you can on the other hand, and then get that other leg off balance, bang, 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 and then fucking drive. It's called mauling. Bang, right? And no one fall off. If the guy if the ball guy falls off, that's the worst thing that can happen.
Yeah.
If you fall off on that side, that fucks it up because he could shoot. He could get out there. He could try and get an offload. And if your guy on the leg doesn't keep his feet, when they say blade, people come in and blade and they lose their legs. Right? Don't lose your fucking legs because that's what's driving you. Stay on your fucking feet, get the leg up, and you drive back. That's how you do it. And it's a teamwork, right? Everybody's on the same page. 3, could be even 4.
Yeah.
But everyone stay in and you maul. That's what it's called, a maul. But the guy with the ball, you hold that fucking ball as hard as you can. So if someone slips off, 2 slip off, this, that, offload, fucks your whole setup, right? Or if you get a quick play the ball, you got 2 dead ants on the ground and then they'll just go boom, 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 then they'll get out of fucking trouble. One person can fuck it all up, or 2 people. And that's what some of these young kids don't understand, that mentality where Penrith, they're used to just going, fucking, hey, everyone on the same page, not even worried about anyone else. Now they're worried about someone else. It's about 4 people.
It's fatiguing the OGs. Like Yowie, Liam Martin, Scotty Sorensen, they're all in tackles trying to control it and the players falling off and they're just looking and going,
this never happened for 5 years.
They haven't,
I didn't have to do this for 5 years. I didn't have to fucking go back and then shit, there's an offload. It's fatiguing them.
Can the Panthers make the 8?
No.
Why?
They can. I think now is.
I agree though.
I don't think
they can.
They've come down a fair bit. They're 1-5. Was it
1-5?
1-5. It's pretty hard to make a run. I think what's going to happen with Luai. Luai's under the. I mean, not Luai. Cleary's under the most pressure he's been in his whole career, right? Because he's always had a perennial Origin player, one of the best in his position, right next to him since he was a young kid. Now he's got Blaze Talangi, who has fucking no idea what's going on out there at the moment because he doesn't know what his role is, right? So he's touching the ball a hell of a lot more. I'd love to see his touches. I think he's up near the 50s. You know what I mean? He's coming across. He's trying to set shit up. He's trying to set it up. Nathan, his receipts are right up where, the kicking game's still there. The kick chase is nowhere near as good. All these little things where other teams have gotten better, right? So your teams like Dolphins, they can get you. Raiders will get you. So all these teams that they would never, ever lose to, they've gotten better.
Yeah.
Right? And Penrith's come down and then they could easily miss out on the 8. If they keep losing, like if they go win, loss, win, they'll be fucking down there. Do you know what I mean? They need to go on a massive, massive run because these teams like the Bulldogs, the Broncos and, all these top teams, they're not Melbourne. They're not losing. They're on a run. They've set their culture's good. The way they play is all set in. Where Penrith's like, fuck, what's happening right now?
The reason I agree with you and I think they'll miss the 8 is they will get it together. I know they'll figure it out. There's too much class in that team and eventually they'll get there. But it'll be too late because of Origin.
The outside backs aren't class.
Because we'll just get through. Well, that's what I mean. I mean, it's like Stephen Crichton at one point wasn't. Matty Burton wasn't at one point. But they get better. They find their role. They figure it out. And they'll develop them. And that's what Penrith do.
They will.
But during the Origin period, I can guarantee, despite they could. I said this a couple of days ago that they could lose. They could only win one game heading into Origin. Nathan's still going to be the halfback. Isaiah Yo's still going to be the lock for New South Wales. Liam Martin's still going to be the starting back row. Brian To'o's still going to be one of the wingers if healthy. Dylan Edwards is the one that's maybe questionable.
If he's fit, he's got the one spot.
So you're going to miss 4 guys during that period, and you could already potentially be at best maybe So just say if they win every game from now, they could go into Origin with about a 5-5 split. That's crazy, right?
No, they'll fucking near lose every game during Origin.
That's what I mean. That's my point.
Yeah, but like I think because of those players that you just said, that's their team. Before they had Fisher Harris, you still got Leota. You still had other players that, like a really class player. Sorensen was there. Like he just had depth. Mitch Kenny, and now it's just like that's not there. It's just not there, right? And might take a year to rebuild. They will go on a run.
I think they're going to go on a run after Origin.
Yeah, and I just don't think the players. I just don't think they have the players, the caliber of players to dominate like they used to. Like I'm just sitting here diplomatically thinking, I don't want fucking Panthers to fall off and all this kind of stuff, but I'm seeing a lot of fucking things in their defensive principles and the detail in their defense. That's not there. It's not there, and it's fatiguing. And what's happening is like Yowie is just played 250 games, right? And these big runs in semi-finals, grand finals, Kangaroo tours, Origin for 6-7 years, as I said before, 8 years, starts to take its toll.
Yeah,
it really does. And then
yes, kick on.
Yeah, it starts to take its toll. And now I'm seeing it take its toll because they've come back to the pack a little bit. Now they're working way harder. Yowi's getting the ball a lot of times. He's passing. It just doesn't seem like it's gelling. They'll get it together a little bit, but I don't see him making a run.
You know when they'll be the most dangerous? When teams have got to play them at the end of the year. So when I think they're going to be able to, I would say around Origin, after the third Origin, there might be a world in where you looked at mathematically, they're not completely done, but they could be a really hard task.
They've got the Origin layout. They've got 2 buys during Origin.
Yeah, I know that, but that's still, you've got to play Origin. That's the point. Look, it's not necessarily about like when you get the buys. Yeah. It's the fatigue after the Origins. And
so they come back and they play Parramatta both times.
And just quickly on the point, that's if they're fully fit.
Yeah, man.
Like how many times has fucking Nathan come out of Origin injured? Dylan Edwards has come out of Origin.
Look at Totos.
Liam Martin's been banged up after Origin. So it's not necessarily about whether they get the buys during that round. It's that they're playing in the hardest game of the year during that, and they can't afford to rest players. How many times have they rested players after Origins as well when the team has been playing?
They've had that luxury.
They've had a luxury.
And now I just think the aura is gone.
They are lucky.
The aura's gone. So everybody who plays them, they're very humanized now because you're like, fuck, Liam Martin looks like I can tackle him. Or he's not going to crunch me. And Yowie looks like he's fatigued, very vulnerable. And I'm like, so other players who fucking keep receipts, I'm getting busted by Penrith in the last 4 to 5 years. They're like, we'll fucking get these guys. Foot on throat mentality. They fucked us up big time for 5 years, talking shit, all the Yahoo and the Luais and everything like that. You keep those receipts because when you get back, when you're that team, then you fucking want to get into it. And not just, you're going to give Penrith's getting everyone's best every single game.
I need to look at the ladder
So last year it took 30 points to make the top 8. Is that what you were looking at?
No, not that. They'll get it together at the back end of the season. Yeah. I reckon when they drop their shoulders and it's probably out of range, those are the teams that you don't want to play them if you're a finals team going into the finals. And if they... And I'm with you, Mace. Yeah. I love the championship DNA that they've got.
Yeah.
If they're able to pull this off and get themselves into a final somehow, fuck playing them. Imagine if you finish 5th or 6th and you have to play a home semi against Panthers who have finished 7th or 8th at the back end of the year. That would be fucked.
Yeah, it would be. But like, I'm just thinking the mystique's gone.
Blaze Thalangi, talking about Blaze Thalangi, Joy McLean, they just need to get it together, these young players. Yep. Let's get to the Dragons 38 defeating the Titans 16. A new contract and a double for CT, and the dollar signs are back. Christian Tuipulotu.
Did he do the dollar signs or was he?
Did the dollar signs.
I just saw him go.
Originally. So the first one, he celebrated.
He's got to get his timing right with the chest bumps and shit. Someone's going to do an ACL.
You know what? No, I'm glad you brought this up because I was calling this game. He gets so excited about his celebrations that he forgets just the basic skills of getting up and standing up because he's so excited to do it to the crowd, and there's just must be this anticipation of doing the celebration. Yeah. He almost falls over. He almost trips over his own feet.
He does because he wants. I'm like, put the ball down first.
Yeah.
get your balance, and then do what you want. I'm like, he's going to fucking run into the fence. I was worried about that. And then he's just like, he gets up and then he wants to jump and other people are just like not on the same level. So it's going to be a head clash or something like that.
Way too excited.
He gets so excited. I love watching him play. He looks fit. He looks really good. He looks like a fucking animal.
Despite all the celebrations, mate.
So celebrate your ass off. Just the only time we had a crack at him was because you're getting beat. That's it.
Well, that's what Flano said after the game, and you could tell he's even reluctant to say it because he must have said something to him about it. But they go on, they win the game. My favourite part was when our young buck, Dylan Egan, scored a try. They crossed to him on the sideline. He's tweaked his hammy. He's got ice on his hammy.
Up.
And he went like this.
I love it because apparently, like I know some people that at the Bulldogs that have known him since he was a young kid. He's the most quietest kid off the field.
Apparently he's a legend.
Legend, absolute legend.
Yeah.
And once I knew that, because I think it was a week after the Dogs, I said, who knows this Tuipulotu kid? Yeah, he's a really good kid. I went, fuck it, he's just excited.
Yeah, they all loved him at Manly.
I just said, look, when you're winning, you can do what you want. You don't get beat. Well, it's 28-6 or something like that, whatever. But do what you want, kid. Win your games, score your tries, get it going. Love it.
I have to show you the presser after this. Like they asked Flano about it, which is obvious, and then he sort of like looks at Cookie and has like this little smirk on his face. And you know what Flano's like. Flano's very old school, and he's like, I don't care as long as we're winning.
Yeah.
And they got the job done. I was so happy for him because look, we did take the mickey out of it, but you know that's how we thought about it. You know,
but that's everybody.
Yeah.
You know, you just don't celebrate when you're down 20. That's all.
We talked a lot about, I got the notes here for Egan. We talked about Law off the back of it as well. And I talked about his skill set. That was all addressed when we talked about Egan being my Red Bull young back. So if you want to listen to our takes about not only Egan starting, but Luciano coming off the bench and having a real impact, go back and watch that if you've just come in for the Dragons bit. I want to talk about Val. So he gave Bo Famore an absolute bath in the first half.
Should, right?
Exactly.
But Bo's a good defender.
Yeah.
Sorry, was he playing centres? Bo? Did Bo get pushed into centres? Why?
He's done it. Des has done it before.
It's fucking dumb against Val.
Well, I've got a take down here a little bit longer, a little bit further down about the Titans, but I just want to start with Val. And even at this, I reckon one of the more underrated parts about Val is his toughness.
Yeah.
And because he does some real silky stuff, scores tries, kicks goals. And you know what? And I've said this before about Kalen. He's a good-looking cat. He doesn't get enough credit for his toughness. His yardage carries are just fucking. He runs like a beast. He's off the back fence, Val, a lot of the time. And this is always a good gauge. This is always a good. Like I don't know. I need to probably go back and have a look or get someone like Random Stats Guy to have a look at some analytics for me. Whenever the back five all run for over 100 metres, that's normally a sign that a team is going to win.
Mostly, even Cronulla. Cronulla's big on that, most back fives. So I think Val was outstanding. That silky touches that he has. But like, I've never questioned Val's no one has questioned, but he doesn't get enough credit for the toughness, right? Because he's always making fucking line breaks and last pass, silky little hands, dummy, out balls, like finishing tries off. Like people just sort of were lost on him because he had a bit of a bad year last year. Couple of wrong reads, got bathed a couple of times himself. But I don't think he's been schooled this year.
He was proper rocks and diamonds last year.
He was, yeah. And I've never seen.
He would have a 10 out of 10.
I've never seen anything like that. So now I think he's found the middle ground. And it's hard to it's 10 years in the game. You think you'd really hone your skills and you never have an off game where he was having an off game last year every now and again, right? And then he'd flog the hell out of someone and he looks silky. Now, he looks good in the red and white too.
He does.
By the way.
He does,
but he looks really silky, looks very, very happy. And he's got that he's got a little combination out there with Lucci when he gets on and
CT.
He's got the Gutho coming around the back.
Yeah.
That's
the preferred edge.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah. Sloaney got a couple as well.
To your stat percentage, I can't find anything specific to the back five, but it's an 83% chance if your team runs more than the other team.
Okay, yeah.
Over 100 back five, you mean?
No, just in metres in general, 83%, which is obvious. I told you that one about that Siebes told us, so it's metres per set.
Yeah, okay.
So like if you, for example, if you run 45 metres per set.
Because it's all about field position.
40.
Right? It's all about field position. So that sounds about right. But Dragons tough. They look tough.
Yeah.
I think, they've shown been very inconsistent with some games. But
they're a pain in the ass.
Pain in the ass, right? A real pain in the ass. I've beaten the fucking Melbourne a couple of weeks ago, and they're getting dusted last week, and now you Titans, you give it to those guys, but they look good. Just need to find that. Whatever they did on the weekend, do that every week, and you'll probably win most games. I don't know.
That's a good recipe for a lot of teams. Whatever you did to win, do that.
But it's like,
every week.
But that's where coaching comes in.
Yeah.
And it's like it's the mental thing. It's like how did you prepare for that game against the Titans, everyone? And you got to get into that mindset every single game. Whatever. That's what I used to do. Whatever my best game was, I'd always think back to what I did and how I prepared, my mindset. And then that needs to be the norm.
Okay.
So like it's a mental thing. You can't just be like running in and out of games, being inconsistent off the field, on the field. Like if you're doing some stupid shit off the field, it'll fucking show on the field.
Yep.
Wayne Bennett's massive on that, and all the great coaches, the Gus Goulds, Craig Bellamy's, whatever you're doing off the field, it'll translate on the field. You can't just turn up anymore in this day and age and just be like, bang, kill it. Happy wife, happy life, all this sort of shit. Get your mind right. Get everything off the field correct. Get everything done, and everything will transfer onto the field. So little things like that, and that's coaching and people just being on the same page.
Dave Fafita played really well on this one, MASE. He went after the game. His temp was so much better. I said last week I sort of called it out. I think he had 5 carries for like 45 minutes or whatever. I think he had 45 metres in his first 3 carries in this game, and then went on to have like 180 or some shit like that.
And this is what I mean by like that week in, week out. He's probably the perfect example.
Yeah,
right?
good point.
What the fuck is Des? Like, Des should be having one-on-ones with that guy every single week. I need you to get the ball 20 times a game, whether you pass the ball 5 times or not, but I need you to get involved, because the more times you're involved, the better we are. I can't have you having 5 fucking hit-ups in 60 minutes for 45 metres. That's embarrassing for a player of that stature. Right, he's too dominant. He's too big. He's too strong. When he's on, it's like playing with kids. Like he's just fucking palming people, palming everybody off. He's offloading when he wants to do it. He does everything when on his, But like that's coaching, right? That's having conversations with Dave Taylor, sitting down with this man all week, going, "What are you thinking about? How's this? How are we going to get you the best out of you every single week?" That's what Des needs to do to him. I'm not sure if he's doing it. But if he's not, do it now.
And not to say Dave's not this guy, but we've all played with players before, mate.
He's fucking inconsistent, mate.
You've like, and getting away from the Dave bit, but this is like staying with the Dave bit, if this makes sense. And again, this is going to sound harsh, and not saying he is this guy because I'm not within the building, but we've played with guys before. You're like, footy's not that important to them. Like some guys are just good. Like some guys are just athletes, and some guys are just good. And then some guys need a rev up, like having a poor performance like Dave had last week, to then come out and go.
Yeah.
And then there are guys that are like me, where I'm like, I have to play my best every week to make a team, or if I don't. If I drop my standards, like my worst is a 2 out of 10. So I need to be and put in the effort. Some guys are just blessed to have.
What he reminds me of? Dave Taylor.
Dave is a little bit like
Dave
that.
Taylor's like that. He concentrated for 2 or 3 years. Australian team, Queensland team, everything like that. Same as Dave Taylor. Same sort of similar build, same skill set. Can pass left to right to left, chip chase, all this sort of shit. Because and Coltrane's probably going to go down as one of the most talented players that never reach his potential. Dave Fafita, if he doesn't start concentrating and making rugby league the number one priority, he'll go down like that as well. You know what I mean? He's 24 years old, probably another 4 years at his peak. 4 or 5 years, needs to get every fucking inch out of it. And because he should be one of the first picked in the Australian teams, first picked in Origin, and there shouldn't be any games where he gets the ball 5 times and does 45 metres. Never a fucking game. You should be delivering that shit in the first 10 minutes.
You'd love to coach and mentor him, eh?
Yeah, mate. I'll just see so much in him. I just love everything about him, and he just needs to take the game. Like, just go, all right, I'm the biggest, baddest, strongest motherfucker out on this field. No one can stop me. No one can hit me. I'm faster and I'm stronger than pretty much 95% of the comp. What is stopping you? You can't fight. No one's going to fight me. No one's going to shoulder charge me. I can, anyone who tries to do that, he throws off. Bang, get off me. Who cares? Like, what do you like? We want to see that every single week. I've just got so much of a rap on him. I just want to see week in, week out for like just about 2 or 3 years, and then you reach your potential.
All right, let's get to the halves now. So, look, Des is obviously trying to be patient, and I reckon they're going to give it all the way up until Magic Round. I always thought that was the date to see how it all plays out. I've said all along, I see signs of progression and development for Jaden. I don't really see it for Brimo. I think Brimo
kicking game.
I think Brimo's an out and out fullback.
Fucking oath.
Or if I am going to make a change and make some big decisions with outside backs, I definitely won't be touching Bo for more out in the centres again. Bo's the sort of guy that can go out into the centres if something happens during game. But I wouldn't be starting him when you've got either a youngster like Fitzgibbon on the bench or Brimson in your team.
No. Brimo goes to the centres for me, and then you put Fermor back in the centres. I mean, in the back row. You do not put that man against Valentine Holmes. You just do not. That's just bad coaching. That's just like, Fermor, he can do a job if injuries happen during the game.
Yep.
Hey, Bo, can you go out there and look after this guy? Yeah, do a job on not a Val Holmes, someone else. Do you know what I mean? Like, but you can't start him against Val Holmes. Surely they got some other kid there. You put De Groot in the centres and you put fucking Brimo back there. I don't know. You could have changed that around.
You know what I would have done? And no disrespect to Moses Sully, but both of them probably would have done a better job against Moses Sully, right? Yes. Brian Kelly, move Brian Kelly. I know he's a left side specialist.
Yep.
Move Brian Kelly over to
I agree. That could have worked because Sully is a beast and he wants to run over you, and Fermor can tackle that. Yep. Where Val is silky in and away. He runs cold lines, hot lines. He's like, when I say cold line, it's bang on your outside, starts on your inside, hot line on your inside shoulder. It's nice silky hands. He's got a bag and he uses it against, he would have been going, I know Fermor is a good defender, but he ain't. When you go out further from left, when you're left 4, right, and then you don't even play three man, you're playing the 2-man. You're on an island. The centers go, you think you can cover it from a 4-man, but you are not touching me out here.
That Gutho didn't even throw any shot. He just gave early ball to Val.
Early ball,
just went bang.
Because they're just moving. Yeah. And like if his middles and St. George's middles aren't moving quick enough to put pressure on the 7 and 6 to try and shut down the time, if you can shut down the time before Gutho gets the ball and then you're nearly hitting on contact when Val gets the ball, you can solve it like that. But the middles weren't working hard enough. It's just a sprint, right? You got to put that inside. You got to hunt from the inside, and then it'll help for more, and it'll help all the other sense. So he doesn't get. So Val Holmes ain't getting the ball, and he's 5 meters away from me. I'm like, you be fuck.
With the Titans halves, and just finishing back off on that, when I watch them play on the weekend, I have even like I'll use the Panthers for example. Even though I know it's not working, I can look at a Panthers attack and go, they're not executing, but you can see their structure. You can see what they're trying to achieve.
One pass,
but they're just missing the pass, or they're coming up with an error.
Yeah.
When I watch the Titans, I have no idea what their structure is, and I'm trying to figure it out. And I'm watching it. I'm like, what are they trying to achieve? And I think that comes back to
Jaden Campbell should be 6.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah, and you put Fozzie at 7 because that's the only way it looks. I don't know what Brumo's doing. I don't know what fucking Jaden Campbell's doing. I don't know what they're doing. There's no structure at all.
Yeah.
You go across the field, dummy 1, dummy 2, go to the back rower, outside the back rower, not engaging the line like a Katoa does, right?
Yep.
You're not biting. The markers don't care. A and B are just coming up, checking, releasing, sprinting out to the back rower. You're not getting one-on-ones. Like it just doesn't. It's not working.
No, they're just trying to play, quick and.
They just play, but they play sidewards.
If they don't get momentum, then they just really got.
They
off
play
nothing,
sideways,
yeah.
Hoz, right? Sometimes they're just going like Campbell's getting the ball and just going that way. So as a defender, you come straight. B defender comes straight, and then bang, you hunt his inside hip. So he ain't going to come off his right. So he can dummy that. You wait. And then if he doesn't hit that first guy usually, and then you fucking attack him because there's no inside. Then he has no inside person. Defensive systems work like that now. They're not fucking around.
No.
So if a 7 can't engage the line and go near the line and play short outside 4-man, anything like that, It's embarrassing. You look stupid.
The most dangerous they look was when they were just chasing points and offloading and just throwing the ball around, and then they come up with some pretty cool plays.
Yeah,
but that's
they got
not
a lot of talent. They got a lot of talent.
That's erratic.
Very erratic. When you play against a really good defensive system, you get dusted. And I'm not saying St George is the best one, but they work hard.
Yeah, they do. Speaking of erratic, the Broncos lost 26-16 to the Roosters. And apart from the 5-minute period where Cobbo took that pick to the house and then Walshy scored straight after, I thought the Roosters looked composed.
Yep.
I thought they looked in control. And that's crazy too because, we've been critiquing, Sandon Smith and the halves for the Roosters now for a bit. Hugo Savala debuts in the 7 jersey. And
what's he, 6'4"?
Hugo Savala looked the most composed out of all 4 halves in that game.
I agree.
Sandon Smith even come up with a couple of stinkers again.
So back Sandon Smith. You can't fucking do that. This is NRL.
Yeah, that's unacceptable.
NRL, unacceptable.
But even Savala outplayed Ben Hunt and Adam Reynolds as well. They look flustered in this
game was brilliant from
so good.
40 out, 50 out, putting it in a cage kick and waiting for everyone while she's getting the ball. He looks awful under the high ball at the moment.
I've got a specific moment for you a little bit later.
Yeah, when the guy jumped over him, he was about 4. Yeah. So just like he was putting a cage kick up and the chases were right down. As soon as he caught it, bang, hit on contact. And those next 3, that's how they got it. That's the game. The game's predicated on those. And that's field position. You just lock them down there and then they get to kick. They kick from their 30 or 40. Reynolds or Ben Hunt could kick pressure, and then you catch it, and you get to your 40. You know what I mean? They'll win in that battle. The
game's won between the 20s.
Yeah, man.
Like everyone thinks, if you watch footy and you see nice tries and that, the best teams, the Bulldogs, the Melbourne Storms, they win the games between the 2 20-metre lines, and they control that part of the field.
Yeah, I like Billy Smith. I like a kid. I like a kid who's like just been through the fucking ringer, injuries, setback. Come back, bang, killed it. Looks fucking lightning quick. Looked like he hadn't lost much. Hair's looking beautiful.
Yeah, slick back.
He better keep that because I think he's going bald.
Opposite.
Heavy. He's going. I'll give him 6 years. He's got the McDonald's going straight away. So Billy Smith, good looking kid.
He's big schnoz. Yeah, good looking cat.
But I love the fact that he's come back and he's just gone, let's go.
Fucking loved it.
I love it.
Hey,
man.
silver lining for him. He's probably going to have a setback. He's going to be suspended. He's going to miss a week. Yeah.
What did he do?
High shot on Walshy.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
He fucking got him. Yeah,
Walshy was stuck in mitigating circumstances.
The old mitigating circumstances, right?
But here we go.
He didn't fucking miss.
Silver lining, Billy Smith. He's come back. He's had 2 strong performances.
Yeah.
He's missed a shitload of footy. Yeah, does he want to get runs on the board? Of course. Could he do with a spell after a couple of good games and just work on his body with the injury history that he's got, which will benefit him for the back end of the season?
Yep.
I know he doesn't want to be suspended, and there's probably Roosters fans going, "You're off your head, Hoz," but
there's always silver lining with injuries.
You can find a silver lining with a guy like this. He's probably going to miss a week. I thought he was excellent,
and you can tell he can do some agility. He can do some rehab on his knee.
Rehab's the big one.
Yeah, but like just sharpen the tools a bit, right? Just before we're a quarter of the way through the season. Little suspension here and there doesn't hurt.
Who are they playing this week, Lukey? Can you have a look and see who the Roosters are playing for me this week?
I liked their forward pack. They really found a balance there with Spencer and Victor coming off the bench. Mm-hmm. All right. You said, I know you got in the notes, Nat Butcher. He was fucking probably one of his best games.
Do you reckon he is this version's Orbo?
No.
Mr. Fix-It, plays multiple positions for him?
No, Orbo was like a fucking, he could play, genuinely play a centre.
Yeah.
And
Script writers went good on the draw. Guess who they're playing?
Who?
Panthers.
Yeah. The Roosters always get a tough draw. Well, they're predicting that the Panthers would be the Panthers of old. They always fuck the Roosters over in the draw. But going back to the Panthers.
The Dolphins, the Canadians, fucking trying to get the Roosters, aren't they?
Yeah, always.
Where
the forward pack for the Roosters.
Yeah.
They dominated. They got Payne Haas. They fucking got Payne Haas. They looked after him. He got his runs. I'm not sure about his stats, so I don't think he hit like 150.
Can I say something? And I looked at this after because I was like, fuck, they've done a good job on Payne and Paddy.
They still
ran for 130 or 40.
Yeah.
But they had to earn every fucking metre. I'm telling you, because when I looked at it, I was like, man, they've really controlled Payne and Paddy in this game.
Because you know why? Because I love it because like Payne destroyed him last time. He ran that fucking line, boom, straight through, step, fullback, all that sort of stuff. Like he demolished the Roosters, right? Yeah. So that's the head on the plate mentality. Yeah. Carrigan still play good. Carrigan's a beast.
That's a good game for most, but that's a bad game for Payne.
Yeah, because
you know what I mean?
You know why? Because he got tackled.
Yeah.
It was just like
he didn't run for 200.
He actually got tackled most of the time, and they actually put him on his back a couple of times because they had some intent in their defence. That's what won them the game, the intent in defence, right? They still had Reece Walsh, you still had Cobbo, you still had Katoni Staggs, you still had Carrigan, Payne Haas, Pax played good, Hetherington's a beast, like Ben Hunt, Reynolds, they all got taken care of. Attitude, mate. And that's the attitude that you need to carry into the game, which is the hardest thing to do, is have that attitude for 27 fucking games. You're going to have your ups and downs and everything like that, but like...
That's the one part I can't knock the Roosters on. Yeah, the execution's been poor at times, and I think they're still lacking in troops. But the effort, and I've said this before about Robbo being frustrated, the Roosters have had effort in every single game they've played. I can't say the same about the Broncos. That's why I was worried last week.
I want to measure Robbo's blood pressure. What do you reckon it'd be sitting at? It's fucking high. But like, yeah, I like the fact that they're ripping in. They're not getting towed up. You know what I mean? They've lost a couple of games when they're like their Warriors game 14-6, and then the other one, you know, they're in games. Just miss a little bit of class, finishing the sets. You know, Sandon Smith's not that dude. This young 7 could be the guy, right? Or maybe you can move him to 5'8" when Sam Walker gets back. Maybe.
Yeah. Sandon Smith's still hard read for me.
Fucking 14.
Yeah, I want to see.
Then Cheese comes back. I think Cheese comes back. I think Sandon Smith probably gets in reserve grade.
I want to see Sandon Smith with Sam Walker first. I still want to see that.
How does that look? Yeah. How does Sam? What are they trying to? I heard these rumors Sam Walker's like fucking like they're trying to go. Let's not play him. Yeah. You try and tell that to a young kid who's 22. Oh, just sit the year out because Roosters don't have down years.
Okay.
I know. If they come back in round 27 and they cannot make the 8, not play him. But if he comes back in 6 weeks and they're making a run and they're decent, he's playing.
Let me give you some context. So Braith's been talking about this, right? I think it started on NRL 360, and then Joey mentioned it on his show as well. So it's a Braith. Which argument do you sit on? Do you sit with Braith?
What's he talking about? Give me some context.
So Braith is saying that no matter what, doesn't matter if, despite whether the Roosters are out of contention or not, if Sam Walker is fit at the end of the year, then you play him.
Yep.
Because he should be getting the reps in, because even if the season is done in 2025, the way he starts 2026 is important. Joey's in the opposite camp. If they are eliminated by the time that Sam Walker is fit to play, then they should save him, make sure they put more work into him, get his body right, and make sure he's ready to attack 2026 injury-free. Which camp do you sit in?
That's hard now, because I'm just thinking, just say if it's round, as I said, if it's round 26, Roosters no hope.
No, a lot of people are predicting Sam Walker to be back somewhere from round 10 to 15.
Fuck, you're playing him because they'll be thereabouts. They're going to be from like, just say 7 to 14. Okay, on the same sort of points.
But the hypothetical and the point behind it is they're basically eliminated. Braith still believes that even if they're eliminated, they should still play him because it's about getting the reps in.
Eliminated round 15.
But it's the hypothetical, mate. Okay. Just like the point of it is, like, just say they've lost all their games up until that point.
Okay.
They're mathematically eliminated. So they'll.
For the future of the game, I'm not playing him. For the future of him.
Okay, so for
the future of him, and I'm like, they can't win, and I'm like, not going to risk him coming back. I'd rather him have a full fucking preseason. Get fucking bigger, which he's probably trying to do now. Just get all your reps done. What's the point? What is the point?
I actually sit more with Braith's side of
playing. I'm not fully in Joey's, trust me. You know what I mean? I'm like, I see it from both angles. I'm like, and I know what Sam Walker's like. He'll want to play.
Yeah.
You know?
So here's the part that Braith added too, which I think is really important. If you get some runs into him, right, and look, there's a chance of getting injured for sure, re-aggravating it for sure.
You can walk downstairs and get injured.
Of course, yeah. Or you can race people down a Corso and get injured as well. Or you can slip in a shower and get injured. So anything can happen. But my point is, and Braith brought up a really good point, is get some reps in him because I think it's important that he starts 2026. If he shows any signs of re-aggravating it, any soreness, any lingering injuries that go from the knee to like tweaking the hammy.
If he can't get through training, and obviously the Roosters are pretty professional on that. If he can't get through 3 to 4 weeks of like just fucking flat out balls to the wall, front load everything, you're not playing him. But you're not limping through training and how's your knee feeling, all this sort of shit. So there's going to be about that. There's going to be a month of that high level shit, fit as hell. If he's not that, you're not playing.
Do you think they worry about Cheese the same way about Sam Walker?
No. Not a fucking chance. Get out there and play Cheese. And if I was Cheese, I'd be like, I'm not playing.
That's the other debate that's going on. Cheese to Rabbitohs early. Should they? Shouldn't they? Not my question. Can you think of any players throughout your career that were rested in similar circumstances to what we're discussing?
No. Never.
No.
I come back
So why is it a topic?
In 2000, so this and this. In 2005, I was out for 20 games. We weren't making the semi-finals. And Liz Frank, I still played.
What round? Sorry, round 25?
So round 20. Round 20 I come back and we were eliminated because we had the whole team out and I still played. Made the Kangaroo Tour, whatever. Played 5 games. That's it.
But yeah, if there's no precedence and it's never really happening, why is it such a big topic?
Because someone's brought it up. And
someone's brought it up.
It's News Corp versus Fairfax again.
I ain't even fuck Sam. I mean, Sam Walker.
No, because it's a good hypothetical.
It is.
It's a really intriguing one because I can see parts of both sides. Even though I agreed with Braith, I can understand the thought process behind both Willie and Joey's reasonings.
And it's this too.
Yeah.
Right?
And if he is your franchise player. Yeah.
Is there a clause in your NRL contract that says if fit and available, you must?
No.
It'll be up to Sam Walker. It's all on Sam Walker. Sam Walker, I don't feel, he will not say like, I'm 100% fit, but I don't feel like playing. It'd be like, okay, there's like, just say 6 games ago, we're not making the 8. I'll just fucking drag this on. Which I don't think he's going to do, but he could do that, right? Because he's 22 years old, come back from a full fucking ACL. It's a 9 to 12 month injury, So it's like, okay, I'm not sure how long it's been, but more rest for that kid. The longevity is longer, right? You don't want to get him out there because it's fucking hard playing NRL week in, week out. His game's predicated on footwork, kicking, everything like that. Contact. He's going to have to do a lot of work. He's not. I honestly don't think if he can't come back before round 15, don't play him.
Yeah.
There you go. And I don't think it's going to be a hypothetical because I'm with you. I think the Roosters are probably going to be thereabouts.
I think so, yeah.
He's going to come back
When's
and play.
Cheese is?
Well, they did in the same game. So depending on what level of the injury was and for both of them.
What round was it? Was it late?
Well, I was hearing at the start of the year, both of them were aiming for round 10.
Well, what round did they do it last year? It was late, wasn't it?
It was like round 20, round 18.
Yeah,
it was the Canberra Raiders game after Origin.
So how many months has that been? So just say that was like August.
A bit over 9 months it would be.
Okay, so they're about.
Yeah, a bit over 9 to 10 months.
And I'm not sure, I think Cheese is just he's a goal. He'll just want to play. But you know what? It's going to be on Cheese if he wants to. Because there's a lot of rumours going, get out now. If he goes, fuck it, I'll just sit out and just fucking front load for next year.
1st of September.
I was just taking the piss about Cheese.
I'm not sure if Cheese would want to play.
I was more taking the piss for are they going to be as worried about Cheese's well-being than Sam Walker's?
Of course not.
All right, let's get to the Broncos. And I've taken a receipt here, and I very rarely do this with people that carry on a little bit. But Faraz, he's messaged a number of times. He's a diehard Broncos fan. He normally is a bit of a punish. And I see him on other people's. It's not just ours.
I don't like his first little comment.
He's got so he wrote me a message off the back of last week when the Broncos won a game and I was concerned about them losing big games or at the back end of the year, not necessarily the team beating them and then more so them losing games. And then within a week, in my opinion, Broncos were the more talented team, but the Roosters just outplayed them and forced them into a loss. And he wrote this, "Horo, are you serious, lad? Bronx can lose a big game, but not the Dogs. See what happened last year. Dogs killed it and blew week 1 just because Willie is there, man. Ha ha ha. SMH.
What's he talking about?
Exactly. Bulldogs threw it away last year because he replied to himself too, by the way. No one replied.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
So he replied to himself. Only made the finals week 1. Bronx made GF, but only they can drop a big game, not Dogs. Okay, bro, we will see. Faraz, Your team just lost on the weekend after you wrote that comment, and they're $1.20 favourite. Now, very rarely do I give these sorts of people comments, but sometimes you just got to shut people up, mate.
And you don't give a fuck because I'm going for the Bulldogs?
And I could care less.
I'm here.
The example was the Bulldogs are nowhere near the team they were last year. They've improved out of sight, and they're also not going to beat themselves. And I agree, there was a part in that game where they let it slip. By no means were they $1.20 favourite against the Manly Seagulls. It was a coin flip, and they were not the out-and-out favourite to win the game. So my concerns with the Broncos happened on the weekend. And the thing, I think the part right now with the confidence of them and the ability to blow any team off the park is their Achilles heel. They are so talented, and they have been, this has been sort of a problem now for what, a year and 6 weeks? Mm-hmm. Because of the year they had in 2023 and the fashion in which they just fucking just destroyed teams, when that is not happening, they try to force it, and that's their biggest problem. That it must be really hard, and I say this all the time, where they just are not able to, all right, we're not going to beat this Roosters team like we did in round 185 weeks ago. It's a different team. We've got a different game plan. Can we beat these guys 24-16?
Yeah.
That's where they need to change.
Can we grind with the team? Can we grind? Can we go set for set and then let them break? You know, then where they're like shift, have a crack at it. You know, like they're trying to play the big play all the time, where you should know, all right, the Roosters are up for this game. Physically, they're dominating us. They're winning the field position, and that's where you rely heavy on a Reynolds and a Ben Hunt. You're like, get to your kick it. Get the kick chase going.
They're
win
not
your field
quite
position.
connecting at the moment.
No.
Hunt and Reynolds.
No, that's what I'm saying. They're on different pages, mate. And I just think one of them needs to really take control when they're under the pump like this. It's still a winnable game for those guys. I said the Broncos were going to really fucking run it up on them. So when you come up against a team with a different attitude, which is happening more often than not now, teams, whatever team happened last week is a totally different team this week, right?
Yeah.
You know, so it's happening. It's not like we haven't seen so much of a team till we get to around 9 or 10 that we know what they're sort of like.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Broncos are like.
Either do I.
I don't know what the Roosters are like either.
Neither do I. Yep.
You know, I know Melbourne, I know what the Bulldogs are like because they're pretty consistent, but all these other teams are just like, okay, we don't know. Look at the fucking Tigers. You know? Look at the Knights. You know? There's all these other teams. So I don't know what the fuck this guy's talking about. But
yeah, just brought up. Normally I don't shed light to these sorts of guys, but he's talked shit for a while now. I just wanted to
shut up.
Just highlight how wrong he was.
Obviously, he's a big Broncos fan.
He is.
Suck shit 2023.
Back to your point that you say about the constructive comments.
I mean,
I very rarely. But
just be like,
this guy's been.
Be diplomatic. Just be diplomatic with your fucking comments, like this guy, right?
Yeah.
It's not because of the Bulldogs or anything like that. The Broncos team is one of the most talented teams in the comp. They're very inconsistent. They need to find their balance. The fullback's playing fucking awful. There's a lot of things going on. You can't rely on Payne Haas to get you wins. You know, like they need to sort it out with Ben Hunt and Reynolds. Gun back line. It's there for the making. It's there to win the comp.
I'll tell you a crucial moment. I was 20 minutes to go. Savala goes down the short side, puts up a kick, end over end, and it floats over Walsh's head.
Yep.
Hits the deck. Salakabo picks it up in goals, gets tackled straight away while she passes it to Shibasaki. He gets pumped.
Out the sideline.
No, he loses the ball. And then they go a couple of sets up there, and that led to the Nat Butcher try.
But like, why? I remember that just going, it was about 20 to go.
Yeah.
Kicked it. Where was Walshy?
He was there. He
just wasn't back. Like, where do you think they're going to do a chip kick or something like that?
Yeah.
Let it go. And then he goes to short side to Shibasaki. What is that?
And then he got pumped.
But like, you don't go short sides. There was fucking 3 people in 10 metres. Of course you're going to get lifted out. You go to the open the field up. I'm like, all right, that's not a smart play.
Yeah. For me, it was an effort play.
And what's Shibasaki supposed to do? I mean, Shibasaki should have been on the open, but I think he's just holding defences there. He doesn't want the ball.
Yeah. My point is less about the carries after it, and it's like Teddy, Edwards, Pappy, they don't let that ball bounce. So they
Never.
They don't
It's
even
on the full and you're straight to the middle of the field.
And that's the part like where, I think sometimes there are moments where people, guys like their fullback's a very tough position and you've got to be the fittest player on the field. When you miss that assignment, I thought that was huge.
See him in the last 10 minutes? You see him in the last 10 minutes, the body language?
Well, that's Roosters, after that moment, the Roosters just put the nail in the coffin.
As I said, the fittest. You got to be the fittest player on the team, right? So he's just down there on his haunches.
He was gassed.
He was gassed, and he ain't doing nowhere near the work as some of these other fullbacks, right? I just think it's going to be some teething problems at the moment right now with the Broncos. They're a good team.
The part I love the most, and I'll get to this a little bit later on with Webby, the accountability for Madge and Reno after the game. The refs were so frustrating to watch in this game, but it was a bit for both teams, and because you've got the Queensland media up there, they were trying to bait both Madge and Reno into using the refs as an excuse. But for me, the Roosters, they got rid of all that. They got on with the game, and they didn't allow that to be an excuse, and that's the part I love. Little quick one before we move off. Jesse Arthurs, he's the example of what I said is wrong with what some of the players are doing right now, and I said I'm going to continue to call it out. I believe Jesse Arthurs has got a Category 1 for grabbing his jaw in a tackle, which led to a penalty for the Roosters. Apparently, he did his testing when he came off. Fine, cleared it. But because he grabbed his jaw and looked dazed on the field, he's not only missed the back end of that game,
next week.
He's going to miss next week.
Got to be smart, guys. Got to be smart.
So these players
if you're rattled, you're rattled.
Yeah.
Don't fucking fake it to get a penalty. You know what I mean? There was a couple of players on the weekend, they did that.
It happens 2 or 3 times a game.
Even I think yesterday, a couple of games, I'm like, get up. You didn't get flogged, mate. And the refs are onto this shit. And if you grab...
Some
no.
aren't.
But like if you grab your head and you look like you've fucking broken your jaw, Category 1 straight away. So just be smart. Like if you get rattled, you get rattled, right? It's a physical game. We're trying to get that out of the game, but mistakes happen. You're going to get hit in the head. But like if you do that, then you're going to miss that game.
Sharkies 24 defeat the Manly Seagulls 18. Even as a Manly fan, I was confused by the no try on Will Kennedy. The part that's disappointing about this one is all escorts have an element of interpretation about the decision, but fuck, that was a bad call. Like, not to say that the fashion in which someone scores should factor in, and potentially factoring in that we're in an AFL town in Perth, and that was such a fucking good try from Will Kennedy should factor in.
That was
But there was an element of doubt. Like, Stone Street was just going back towards the ball, and I thought it was a really poor call. And all you Will Kennedy haters for Sharks fans,
awesome, that try.
It was unbelievable. And luckily he ended up scoring one later on, which was awesome as well. But fuck, Will Kennedy played awesome.
He's killing it, man.
He's playing so good. He's not the problem at the Sharks.
No, their halves are the problem.
Because it's still not like, despite how dominant they were in this game, and Tricky was good, he had some really good moments, he also gifted 12 to Manly the other way. The connection's still not there. No. Like there's still a core. Even though I thought the Sharks were potentially a 30-12 better team than Manly, and we'll get to Manly in a bit because they've got their issues as well.
Yeah, I don't know. But like just Nico, and Trindle, just like, fuck, look, what's happening there? It looks so basic and very easy to read. Like, I'm just like, he just catches and passes most of the time. He just does a little dummy here, block shape. You know, he's not digging into the line at all. As I was saying, like, it's pretty easy to defend. Pretty easy to defend if you're a defensive system, right? And a very good defensive system. Like, he's not even threatening the line. I need him to threaten the line. Yeah. I need him to take short sides. I need something. Just break it down on the left hash line and open the field up and have 4 on this side and fucking go from the open, come to the blind side and attack the short side. Just attack it. I just want to see him attack the line.
I agree with you. So the frustrating thing, if you're watching,
why is he not doing it?
So the frustrating thing watching this is, Trindle.
It's just pass.
Trindle threw 2 intercepts.
Yeah,
but you could almost live with that because you can see that he's attacking the game. Like you don't want him to throw the intercepts, but you're like, all right, you can see some effort there. Now it looks like, and this could be structurally how they want to play. I could be wrong, and they could be really happy with how it's going. Nico's just sort of dinking and dunking.
Yeah.
But also off the back of the chat on Thursday, fuck their middles offer him nothing with the ball. So when McInnes is
one out,
he's a tough bugger. But I was watching some of the shape where they get the two middles and he runs it. He doesn't not one person commits. And what I mean by that is if you are going to run that, you might as well not even run that shape. It's useless. It doesn't work.
No.
So it's just really for show. I think the most confusing part or the most frustrating part if you're a Sharks fan or the reason why this shit won't work against good teams because Manly defensively are just not – it doesn't matter. You can be –
We see what happened when they played the Bulldogs.
You can be a B+ and still put 24 on a team like Manly is they go – it's just all for show, but there's no one's biting. Not one defender.
Are you talking about Nico? Are you talking about
I'm talking about, when Nico sometimes plays on ball, but also more so when any of their middles, most notably McInnes, tries to run the two front row shape, whatever they may call it.
Yeah, and they need to get what they need to get to, just say if they're on the right side of the post, and a wide ball to McInnes, right? So McInnes should be catching on C, drifting out to the 4-man, and the lead front rower could be Fanua Blake, outside the 4-man, inside the 3-man. That's the width that you need, right?
No one wants to run that shape off him.
I fucking know, but I'm just saying, he's got the skill set to do that. But you got to pray. You can't do those. You can't be catching at A and skipping over to B and you get pumped. But you just get the ball. Watch when we break Melbourne down. Those wide balls, man. You get the ball. You catch it on C. You're getting to the 4-man inside. That's where Fanua Blake and Kafusi can run that line. And then you got fucking Nico out the back, or you got someone else. And then you're skinning them for numbers. And then they can all push up Kennedy, all that fan sort of shape. But you can't do that in the middle. It's not working. If defenses are too good, they move up too quick. The markers will end up getting McInnes. They get him all the time. You don't want to get hit by the markers. So they're getting up him quick. I'm not sure who else can run that play.
That's my point.
That's what I'm saying. So they need McInnes needs to be in there, but he has that skill set to do it. He just he plays in the middle too much. You've got to get a little bit wider of the ruck.
Can I go and watch their games this week? And you know better than anyone, mate. You play through the middle.
Yeah.
When you get a guy to run off you, the forwards are not running that line because they don't believe he can come up with that play.
But they will if you get to a 4-man and you're inside the 3. That's what I'm saying. It just needs a dart. Brayley throws darts. Right? So you can get it on the, you know what I mean? I'm talking you just on the right side of the post, just on the right? You throw a 10-metre, so you got A, B, and C within 7 to 8 metres, right?
Yeah.
You catch on that and you just bang overs, and then you get to the 4-man has to come in, and then the 3-man's still sitting back because he knows that whole fucking fan shape's coming out. If you get Fanua Blake even running that lead, he runs that lead good. Even Teague Wilton, he can run that line, play, and then you square up on that guy, and then out the back to Nico or Kennedy or whoever's coming around the back, and then it's boom, 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 because they play those hands so beautiful.
Yeah.
But you can't do that shit in the middle with McInnes just saying, I'm fucking one out just for fucking stat runs or just to settle it down. It doesn't work.
Yeah, I'm trying to So my point with it is just an example because I'm trying to think of this as well to get it across. So maybe people listening at home. So Isaiah Yeo sometimes starts at A and then kicks out and gets to B. Different. Sometimes he gets a wider pass. He might start on C and then
Cam Murray doesn't.
Cam McInnes can do both of those things, but the lead runners won't run a genuine line because they don't believe in that he can throw and not throw him a hospital ball. So you're not going to run it. My point is less about where they're starting.
I get it.
You get it now?
I get it. I wouldn't run off him.
They're not running genuine leads. Therefore, it's not doing anything because they don't want to run an option there where they could potentially get smoked.
There's only a certain few people that I would run off.
Yes, there we go. That's what I'm getting
That's
at.
what I'm saying. If Mark O'Mealy's telling me to do that, fuck off.
Exactly. There we go.
You know what I mean? Okay, just I'll take the next one. Just get me a quick play the ball.
Yeah.
So you got to play smart. Like Roy, the best one was Roy Asatasi. If I got the ball or Sonny got the ball and skipped over, he would run the best lead.
Yeah.
Right? He don't give a fuck who's in front of him.
Yeah.
We'd all run good leads. Rennie Matul would run a mad lead.
Yeah.
Bobcat would run a good lead because it's the trust between the middle, right? The middle guy can get to a 4-man, right? And then that's where the money is, mate. If you can execute that sort of stuff around the middle of the field, there's a lot of joy there if you can execute.
Yeah, if you're the right guy.
If you're the right guy, where McInnes, because he's lock, he's like a different sort of lock. He's a hard-working 50-tackle lock.
Yeah.
He's a 10-hit-up guy. I don't need him catching the ball, playing 25 times a game, 25 times in the game, right? I just need you to work your ass off in the middle. That's where like a Teague Wilton can sort of come in as that ball player, and you put fucking old mate Talakai on the left edge. You know,
I think even Talakai commits more people when he runs.
Talakai runs a mad line, but he needs to be on the field on the left edge. So he's going to get that 4-man and the 3-man because you have to account for that human because he will run straight through you. He's your best decoy. And if you square up on the 4-man, joy. But Nico Hines is reminding me of fucking Jackson Hastings. How he's just dinking and dunking. Not going to the line at all. You know what I mean? Like not committing to anyone. You know what I mean? It's just
yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
Just not doing just ball distributing.
Yeah.
Ball distributing. Not attacking anything. You know, like
I agree with you. There's a part of me that thinks that maybe he's been instructed to do that. Believe it or not.
Surely not. You got fucking Daniel Holsworth there was one of the best attackers. Fitzy's there. Steve Price is there. You got a great coaching staff. It's fucking Nico. Get out there, grab the game, do it yourself.
For Manly, the scoreline doesn't reflect how far off in that. It looked, by the way, the conditions looked really tough for all 4 teams while they're out there. 2 intercepts, you know, the Kennedy disallowed try. Really, they should have been blown out. I seen the presser with Ches and Seeves, and they were talking about the positives about how they were close at the end. Totally disagree with it. Like they were off the mark, and really Cronulla should have blown them. With how close this comp is. And when you look at like performances like Parramatta, and then now with Turbo missing with this injury, and then you know obviously throwing Paseka as well, who's he's supposed to be your alpha prop. You just can't afford to be missing players of that stature anymore, can you?
Nope, especially good middles, mate. It's hard to come by, and I think Paseka would have really grown because of Takayaho there. He's OG, big Tongan boy, you know what I mean? Like, would have got him to that next level, I reckon. And he started the year off good.
Yeah.
And I was like, it just sucked.
It does suck.
That sucked for him. You know, I was just like, you know, he could have, Takayaho would have taken him under his wing. They would have played for Tonga together, and that would have been a very lethal combination because then you put Alloy down back to the bench. Sipley would have been here or there. Bullymore, you know, then you talk and now you miss that, and then you're like, fuck.
Bullymore's been going good.
Bullimore's gone really good, mate. Really well.
Yeah.
But it's the big boys in the middle. You know, when you play against a team like Cronulla, their game's predicated on big middles running straight through you.
Yeah, Cronulla it was almost the perfect get right game for Parramatta in a way. I mean, it's for Cronulla in a way, isn't it? Yeah. They normally enjoy playing against Manly. Now, I remember they had that Talakai game stands out. And they pumped them last year, but I think Manly beat them at the start of the year. Cronulla potentially, but no Turbo and no Paseka is starting to wear this team down. Like I know the Bulldogs have handled it well with no Burton and no Kicks. In particular, probably missing maybe a player or two, like a guy like Sam Hughes or whatever. But there's always been, because of the amount of money that they've had, put into Turbo, Jakey, and Ches. It's always been a depth issue with this team, isn't it? So I don't know. I think. You know, with all the chat around,
slip out the 8.
They easily could, and I think Steve said after the games that Turbo is going to be thereabouts for around this week, if not this week, maybe next week.
Definitely not this week. I saw him last week.
Yeah,
he's in a brace.
Is he?
Yeah,
who Turbo?
He's in MC. Yeah, he done his MCL, probably grade 1, maybe grade 2. Yeah. So EB, do they have the bye coming up? Maybe I think he said after the bye.
They've got the bye Magic round this year.
Okay. Something like that. Maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You don't really want to rush him back.
You wouldn't force it, will you? But fuck, it's a couple of poor performances back to back. The scoreline doesn't reflect it for him. Like if you're just a casual and you're just looking at the scoreline, you go, it's Manly did okay. Nah. Like Sharks were dramatically better. And then and the most disciplined, like we talked about the Sharks, they're nowhere near as polished as they were last year as well. So I think there's a little bit of concern around those two teams still moving forward despite that scoreline.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next game at Perth, and it's the Cowboys 24 defeating the Rabbitohs 16. I very rarely say a decision has affected the outcome of a game, but the video referee ruling the hip drop on Jack Whiten was a huge call. And
what's he supposed to do?
What is he supposed to do?
Like, if he doesn't lose, he gets carried over the line.
Like, he's supposed to touch him?
Yeah, but like he's grabbing him and just their line is there. You need to get him back. Whether it be a hip drop or not, but you need to lose your weight. That's just the way it is. It's not a hip drop, but he lost his legs. That's the only reason why he tackled him.
Dove to make a tackle.
Grabbed. He's like, oh, line there. I've got to get him back, lose legs, whatever. It was no like proper hip drop. That's just a circumstantial tackle. That's what he had to do. And he did what he had to do, but it sucked.
Yeah, especially with some of the calls that are happening right now. And I know like they're factors when a play gets sin binned or whatever it may be. But the Cowboys went on to go score 2 after that.
Yeah.
Scored a couple, I think, to the system, and Purdue scored another.
Purdue's a player.
Got another little double.
I like him.
Yeah.
A little rat. I saw him after getting interviewed. I'm like, I like that kid.
Queenslander.
He speaks
North Queenslander.
He speaks well, doesn't he?
Oh,
Yeah, really impressive.
Whereabouts he from?
I think he's from
Mackay
around
or
like
something?
Yeppoon, maybe.
Oh, Yeppoon, Rocky Boy.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah, have a look. Despite all that, it's not the fault of the Cowboys. They've got to play what's in front of them, and they were on the canvas at times during this, and it looked like it was a dire situation for Rocket Payton, Todd Payton.
Big Rod.
3 losses, but they follow that up with 3 wins, and they have a team just like the Dolphins. They have a quality enough roster that they can go on a run.
I agree.
And I've been high on drinking now for a few years, but I had my concerns over the last couple of years. Defensively,
but he's fucking improved defensively. Out of sight.
But not even just purely defense, mate. Courage sometimes in moments, like whether it's catching a footy, whether it's defending in the line, whatever it may be. And I've questioned that, and I've like, that is the main reason, because he's got everything else in the bag to play Origin with the skill set he's got. But he's pulled back on those few other things that he does really well, because that's not suiting. I reckon they lost more. They were similar to the Broncos. They would lose games rather than the other team beat them last year. He's pulled that back a little bit. He's playing a lot more consistent, and he's just putting his body in front, and that's the.
Seems a lot. He's playing a lot tougher.
Yes,
that's it. He's playing a lot tougher. Before he was sort of, not putting his body on the line as much as we would like to.
Mate, he whiffed on a few plays.
And as much as Todd would like him to do. Now he's doing it.
Yep.
Now he's playing a very well-balanced game. That's what I'm saying. Very well-balanced. Good with the ball, good attacker, putting his body into places, not missing tackles,
that's a good way of putting
tackles.
Well balanced.
Because usually when someone was fucking making a clear line break, you're skinning him. You're taking him on all the time. He fucking got you.
Yeah.
He got him a couple of times. I'm not sure what happened. It was one time when they tried to take him on the sideline.
Latrell Alex Johnston just bit off, and then double D.
Got him. I was like, okay, that's great.
He's done that like 3 weeks in a row now.
That's what I mean. Like, it's smart. And he's like, before it was like you take Drinky on and you probably score.
Who fucked it? So Casey McLean fucked it to Jenkins last week because he deceived him.
Yeah.
And then the week before that, it was Xavier Savage who second-guessed himself.
Yeah.
And then this week, he got one of the best in the game at broken play, Latrell.
Yeah.
Latrell was looking.
Got him.
And then he ended up throwing a bad pass to Alex Johnston off the back of... Yeah. So Drinky's doing a great job.
Yeah, mate. I think he's going good. It's good to see that.
Yeah.
He needs to be playing like he's best for them to make a run.
He's a good fella too, Drinky.
Yeah, he's a good
really
man.
good fella, yeah.
Quick correction, he is from Mackay.
Mackay boy?
I was going to say Mackay, but you threw me off with Yeppoon. Because we had a chat to him a couple of weeks ago on SEN. He's a really impressive kid. Jackson Purdue I'm talking about.
It was a good interview, the one you watched. I watched that as well.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, I've seen a little bits of that.
Talking about playing the halves.
He
played halves all his life. Yeah.
Our boy Taumalolo, right? How's he? What about the numbers he's rolling in with? I'm not sure if they're like
just missed
2016 or anything like that, but they're like high 180s, 190s the last couple of weeks, yeah? And it's that run where he's like the post-contact meters, people hanging off him, maybe a little bit of a late offload, but they're like 20, 25-metre runs. Like that's like...
Yeah, there was a carry where he ran for about 20
That
metres,
lifts
though.
everybody, you know. It lifts the Cohen Hesses, it lifts the Ruben Cotters and the McLeans, and it's inspirational because, like, he's not a dude who says that much. He just does actions.
Yeah.
And when he does stuff like that, it's like, yeah, he's back.
Whatever they're doing with him right now,
Yeah.
and there's been this juggling act of managing his body for sure because he's fucking been an absolute animal for so long. They've got it right. There's whatever
Well, they're doing a training.
the medical team are doing with him, because I know he's still got those lingering knee issues. Fuck, he looks good. And then off the back of it, you see the performances of a guy like Reece Robson, who was quiet for 3 weeks. The first game that JT played was the Broncos game, and they almost snagged that.
Yeah, you're right.
At that point, they just couldn't execute because they had no confidence. Then they get a win against the Raiders. They back it up with a win against the Panthers, and now they feel like they've got their mojo
Well, it
back.
makes Ruben Cotter a lot better, makes McLean a lot better, makes Robson a lot better because you get quick play the balls and Robson can get out and just start playing, and then Dearden gets ignited and everybody's like off the back of that. Purdue, fuck, they got a decent team. When they go forward, Nanai, again, animal off the bench.
Defensively.
Whoa, I love it. I love what he's doing. Coming off the bench and just whacking blokes. Running hard, like just everything. He's been a really big difference.
They had an opportunity to start him again because
Bateman was out.
Bateman missed it, but they started the McIntyre system instead.
Yeah, the system got in there. So I don't know. He's making a very big difference. Like, and you can see it and you're like, he's on and they're going on to another level. So I think, it's obviously a 17-man game now.
He's trying to whack people too, shooting out the line. He just missed a couple. He just missed a couple.
And he's getting the back sort of like, like 15, 20 so he can front load and just fucking go flat out instead of playing 80 every game.
Yeah, he sort of reminds me of, when Viliami Kickout comes shooting out the line. Sometimes he misses, but fuck, it scares the shit out of whoever's running at that edge.
And he's only young,
Yeah.
right? So he'll hone that skill in, and then in the next couple of years, he won't be missing.
You know who Purdue reminds me of? He reminds me a little bit, and I know, like, don't think of Jack Whiten right now, but when he first hit the scene, he was just a little bit gangly and he was a little bit skinny, and then he was super strong right from the start. And I was watching them two go against each other, left versus right, and I was going, he's probably missed like a little bit smaller and a little bit skinnier, but he's got a little bit of Jack Whiten about like a 6 background.
Moves good.
Played in the centres. You could probably play him fullback and he'd do a job. You could play him on the wing, he'd do a job. That's how Jackie started
a footballer.
off. Just a footy player and a goer.
I agree. That's a good shout.
Yeah.
And then Purdue's going to put on a fair bit of muscle, and then you'll see a lot more line breaks because he's fucking strong. It was terrible defence when he went through that. That's one that he scored.
Yeah.
That was bad. We'll get to South soon, but like...
He's got 16 kilos to get.
16 kilos,
Yeah, like
he
he won't have to put that much on.
He'll probably get to 10.
Yeah, maybe
like within 6 of
probably
Jack.
6 or 6 or 7.
Because Jack's a beast.
Yeah,
Jack's taller too.
He's got 2 foot on him.
Jack's fucking 6'3".
6'1" versus 6'3".
There you go.
See, I knew it. There you go. Anyway, let's get on the Rabbits. What do you reckon?
I just want to give, like, I know I was disappointed they got the loss, and this is just like the state of the game right now. Like my observation, we're watching both Mamazolis and Gray during this game because I've been skeptical of them. Like I thought, they're
Big time. I still am.
I'm like, they're going to be okay, and eventually because they're smaller bodies, they'll eventually get exposed, but. Geez, they're tough little buggers. And just the way the game and the fatigue in the game at the moment, you can't really expose smaller guys like that like you used to be. Like, especially when the rule changes come in. So, they're doing...
It's hard to get at.
They're just... Mate, Mamazolis has really impressed me. He's really impressed me. I thought no way that he is a week in, week out starter. But he's just doing some nice things. He's making his tackles. He's tough, and I've been impressed.
Not overplaying his hand.
No, neither of them are.
Run when he wants. Runs when there's markers down.
Yeah.
Like he's doing a lot of good things. Yeah, I was a bit. Is
Still,
he gonna be all right?
look,
even great to a certain extent. I don't just go and anoint these little fuckers because they played 10 good games.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Give me a couple of years, 2, 3.
Yeah,
week in, week out. Then you can see if they're actual first grader, but they're heading in the right direction.
They are. Yeah. Trell and Sullivan were okay in the halves, but what is this?
I thought Trell was really good. I thought he was seeing different looks in defence, right? Because he's usually around the back and he's usually getting one-on-ones in the centres. But like his ball playing skills, mate.
So good.
Fuck, he's so good
For a big man.
Big, soft, beautiful hands. Like he knows how to square up. You know, when he set those tries up, it's just like. And if you've dummy, I mean, if you fall off him, he'll palm you off left. Fucking jousting stick in the chest. He's got all that. So he could play 5'8" for a little bit. I reckon.
We're going to have to. So Jamie Humphries, I think, was 4 or 5 weeks. Cody was like 2 or 3. Bud Sullivan's probably going to get suspended for his hit on Tommy Dearden. So Lewis Dodd was suspended last week. They're running out of halves, mate. So it's probably going to be most likely
Sullivan shouldn't be doing that.
Lewis, Dodd and Trell. And there was a sequence where it looked like something was building and it was down the left edge, obviously, where Trell got his hands on the ball a couple of times, went drop, played short to someone on play 3, and I thought he was going to skin him and go again. And the conditions are a factor, but his game fitness just isn't quite there yet, because I reckon if he was still a little bit fitter and had the game fitness behind him, I think there was a moment where he could have really skinned him down the short side. And
a couple of weeks should be right.
Yeah, he'll be Mickey. He'll be Mickey.
Defensively, he was good. Fucking strong.
Yeah. Look, it was one of those games where it could have gone either way, and not to like the Rabbitohs, and probably the team that's missing the most troops out of anyone. Still, Campbell Graham's out. Cam Murray's out
too, wasn't it?
Cody, Perth.
Perth, okay, yeah, Perth. Sorry.
Second game of Perth.
Yeah.
Let's get to the game in Darwin. Raiders 50
so
defeat the Eels 12. So here's my biggest takeaway out of this. I'm so puzzled that the Raiders are allowing Fogarty to walk. The reasons for me are everything that Fogarty's good at, I think if they took him out, the Raiders would look lost.
Yeah.
And everything, like the few things that Fogarty isn't good at, the Raiders have in spades, which is talent, X factor, unpredictability. It's like they're the perfect marriage, like a game managing 7 with the most unpredictable lineup in the competition. And it's funny. I was thinking about this after watching the Titans game the day before. If you take Fogarty out of that Raiders team, now this is all dependent on what Ethan Sanders looks like. By the way,
is he signed with Manly?
No. Well,
so Ricky, let's just.
Yeah, it could still get done.
Yeah.
But if you take Fogarty out of the Raiders, I reckon the Raiders end up looking like what we look at the Titans now.
Yeah.
Just erratic, X factor, guys that can do crazy shit out of nowhere, like your Fafitas, like your Campbells, like your Brimson.
Yeah.
Like, what's the difference between, respectfully, AJ Brimson and Ethan Strange as a 6?
Not much.
They're not much, is there?
Like they're very similar. Ethan kicks better. That's about it.
A touch better.
Way better. He's fucking way better. Better kicker.
But like the style of footy. So I can't believe that Sticky and the Raiders are considering
he's
this.
just playing hardball, Sticky. I don't know. I hope so. And I just think I love how Fogarty just going, all right, this is a bit of a challenge. I'll prove this wrong in the next month.
Yep.
And you guys need me.
Yeah.
Because he is the guy who can just settle games down. Because you've got a bunch of blokes who just fucking play footy off the top of their head. Huddy Young does what he wants.
Yep.
Strange what he wants. Tapine's doing what they play smash mouth football. The bra goes crazy.
Yeah,
I thought he played outstanding on the weekend because he just didn't really fuck around and try and hit and spin and offloads everywhere. Like he just sort of simplified and just ran hard. Tarpanay did that. Fucking, they look good. Starling ran when he wanted to, went off a quick play the ball and created a lot. And then he just adds that little bit, the kicking game.
He just controls everything, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. He obviously wants a 2-year deal. It depends on what Ricky has sold. Sanders or Saunders? Is it
Sanders?
Who's Saunders? There's a Saunders as well. Anyway, whatever he's sold to Sanders, that's the sticking point. Pardon the pun. Because
Sticky's point.
Sticky would love to keep Fogarty around for another year for sure and keep developing Sanders. But if it's a 1-year deal, Fogarty's probably not going to take it because he could probably get 2 or 3 elsewhere. No,
get more
Manly,
600 too,
Manly and more.
Yeah.
But if Ricky signs Fogarty for 2 years, then Sanders is probably going to go, fuck this. Like, I want to play hard somewhere else, potentially.
Yeah, well, that seems like the circumstance down there because Ethan Strange, what's his name? Sanders. I haven't seen that much of him. He's all right.
Yeah.
He's still tried. He hasn't been tried or tested. Like he's played a couple of games for Parramatta, and then they got him down there, probably thinking this is going to be the situation, right?
Yeah.
But not really thinking that Fogarty.
Sticky must be confident in him,
Fogarty's going to be playing like this.
Yeah.
Like he's the fucking key guy in that whole team.
Agreed.
I don't think Sanders comes in there and beats that guy straight away.
Sanders.
Sanders, yeah, he doesn't come in and does that.
Who knows?
I'm going. I don't know how old Sanders is, right?
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm signing 2 years for Fogarty, and then let's see if we can have a crack at this comp.
Yeah.
Because I don't think when Sanders comes in, that's the guy that we've been missing. Holy shit, we're going to go to that next level. They've got a team there.
Do you think Raiders are in a window?
Yeah.
So do I.
Yeah, they can they're thinking that. They're going, all right, if we can fucking front load and get everybody on board, everyone play their peak, their back five can match anyone.
Yeah.
Their halves are good, their forward pack don't fuck around, their bench is unreal. So, no, I think if you talk to anyone in that inner sanctum, they're like, we can win this fucker.
I think they're probably 1 year
Melbourne's the
away.
only team that fucking gets me.
Your dogs scare me as well.
Dogs,
I think it's
the only team that scares me is Melbourne for the Dogs. We'll wait to see that.
Yeah.
But
one more year, depending on how things play out, if they can get one more year out of the big pups, because I reckon they can't want. Oh, they can.
I think I think he'll get one more year.
Yeah.
I think the way that they're playing him, he can start games. He gets probably like 30, 40 minutes a game. Fucking makes a big impact.
So remember how I said around the stat around if the back five run for 100 metres, that must be
It's a
10 starters. 10 starting out of the 13
run for 100.
Ran for 100. The only 3 that didn't were Strange, who ran 98, Tom Starling, and Jamal Fogarty.
Well, you can forgive that, can't you? Like, I mean, even Strange, he made a lot of fucking breaks. Starling, Fogarty's not much of a runner, but like, fuck, this says a lot about the Eels defence, Lukey, doesn't it?
Not one Parramatta middle made 100 metres.
It's fucking embarrassing.
Just that's the flow of the game as well.
I mean, the
They
Eels
can't
were just
wait
under
to
the
be
pump the whole time. It was hot. It was awful. The Eels played all right. You know, they weren't bad like Melbourne round 1. They were in it, but like the Raiders were just on. Fucking Huddy Young was on. The bra was on. They were Tarpanay. Like they just looked really good. Everything was sticking like the little, like Tarpanay going through, boom, right flick, fucking try. Like they played really good brand of football. Eels are, obviously the Eels are the Eels. They're pretty ordinary right now.
Do you know who they are, Mace? The Eels are. They're the 2023 Bulldogs.
Yeah, exactly.
That I watched play the Brisbane Broncos. Remember when we reviewed that game? It was at Belmore. I remember it specifically.
The 66-0 Newcastle game.
Yeah, so that was a bad game as well. But the game that stuck out to me was I was watching Belmore, and there was a set that I remember it vividly. The Bulldogs the Broncos punched down your right edge, and then Xavier Willison, who was only a young pup as well,
10 years old,
picked the ball up from dummy half and just strolled through your team and put the ball down. And I remember watching that game going,
I think he was 13 years old.
There was... He wasn't even in high school yet. He wasn't even eligible for Origin.
No. And he did that to us.
He was below the age of eligibility. Anyway, I watched that game going, fuck. Right now, not to say that those players will never be first graders or maybe were first graders or years past, but there's 6 or 7 players that just aren't NRL standard at that point.
No.
And that's what's happening for the Parramatta team. I think there's like 6 or 7 where I'm watching in that game where it's just like, in any other NRL team, they're probably not even getting a look in. And that's where they're at right now, and it fucking sucks to be a Parramatta Eels fan and see that.
Have to go through that sometimes.
But the Bulldogs went through it. And a couple of those guys, maybe 7 of those guys that I'm talking about right now, they may be first graders in 2 years.
Yeah.
But they're just not first graders right now.
This is the take, right?
Yes.
So just say 22, 23 Bulldogs. There's not one person at this club that was there in 2022.
Yeah.
2023, I think you got Carraz.
Yep.
I think you got Presto and Max King.
Yep.
All the guys that we thought were going to be there anyway.
Yep.
So when the new coach comes in, he inherits whatever's there.
So did Birdo and Kicks arrive in the same year too?
Birdo was there, yeah. So we had about 5 or 6 proper first graders, but 2022, no one's there. Nobody. Not one person. 2023, and I think there's only 5 left.
Yeah, wow.
Right. So it's like that's in like what 3 years. So that's what Rolsey. You got Rolsey. Apparently he's a fucking great coach.
Yep.
Now he's going to start to implement his structures. Obviously, it takes a couple of years. the right people, the players need to be getting there. That's what he needs, right? He needs a GM who's fucking on the same page. We've got Gus, right? Attracts players. And you just need the right players, right? You just need the right forwards. You need the right people that you want to build with. And it takes a bit, right? Ours was a 5-year plan. 23, 24, 25, third year, 26, 27. Hopefully there's a premiership in there, right? But you got to implement all these little structures and everything like that, from pathways all the way to first grade. You know, having me back at the club, Marco Mealy, Steve Turner, Josh Jackson, do you know what I mean? All through the pathways, educating these young kids. That's why you got your Jack Todds and Harry Hayes and all these young brothers coming through, the Morans and everything like. You know, we want these guys to get through. We've got to train these guys, right? Mentally, physically, so when they get up to zero, you don't have to start again. You know? So that's very important for us. Detail, marker detail, defensive detail. So I'm like, if you don't learn this shit in the next 3 or 4 years, you get up there, they'll just send you back down. Do you know what I mean? So this is where Parramatta's at. When you're at rock bottom like that, you can only get better, right? And it's up to the club to get Rolsey what he wants, right? Very important. The GM is very important. I don't know who the GM is. Very important for him. The recruitment is very important. Pathway is very important because we share the same sort of area. Parramatta border. It's hard to get these fucking kids, but it's the recruitment from Queensland, New Zealand, all these kids from 17 years old to get down here now. And then fucking 2 or 3 years, you see these kids grow and blossom, right? So it takes a while. You can't just go fucking, Parramatta, go buy everyone, boom, 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 boom. You know, buy some key players that are off contract. You know, we got Birdo when he was young. We got Kicks. Well, luckily, because of the salary cap from out there, they couldn't afford him. Critter, Kicks, Birdo, Reed Marnie. That's about it. That's who we've bought. I don't know who else we've got.
Kurt Mann?
Kurt Mann was he was the guy that everyone was going, oh, why do we keep buying these utilities? You know, Salmon, utility, all these other guys. And then like the Bailey Haywoods come through the system. You know, the Kurt Morans come through the system. We got Presto from the Roosters as a 20-year-old.
Yep.
Never played first grade before. Max King, fuck all games, Newcastle boy down in Melbourne, right? So, like, come here. And then, you know, the 7, like Sexton. You know, we've developed him. Look how good he is defensively. He can kick the ball, everything like that. Bronx Cherry on the bottom of the barrel.
That's been a really good pickup.
That's massive. Then you got your Critter. You got Carraz Jr., right? Blake Wilson got him from the Q Cup. Connor Tracy.
Okay, that's enough Bulldogs chat. We're talking about
you know what I'm saying? But that's what I'm saying. But it takes a fucking while.
Yeah.
Right? But you got to recruit the right fucking people.
I'll tell you who's a first grader. Bailey Simonson's a first grader.
Yeah, he's a fucking weapon.
It was good to see him back. He's one of the real good guys of the league too. Ran into him a couple of times at Coogee in his recovery process the last couple of weeks.
I'm happy for him. Fucking strong.
You know what stands out too? And this is he's playing his first game, so he's not probably wearing the scars of the team for the first 4 or 5 weeks. In saying that, they just got a really good win against the Dragons as well. Love to see him and Zach back playing. Lukey talked about what the right edge could be. I think you'll still have Penasini on the right and Zach Lomax on the right wing, but just having maybe Lomax on the right and Bailey Simonson on the left, just effort and competition. Just guys just working hard, and then the other guys can get off the back of it.
And we're missing the main dude, fucking Mitch Moses.
Mitch is back, yeah.
Like, look how important a kicking game. Is he back yet?
I'm not
sure.
Is apparently
Whatever,
Magic Round.
But like, just when we watch a game and you're like, the other team's kicking game is dog shit. Because the game is predicated on the fucking field position. He can get you out like Birdo gets us out. You make 30 metres, he's putting it down on your 10. And then you kick chase. Your game's built like that. They've lost that. They fucking can't do that. Because whoever the kid was at the 7, Dylan Brown don't fucking kick. Like, the kicking game's just terrible. And then Dylan Brown can fucking actually start playing football sometimes, yeah?
It'd be, mate, Mitchy Moses' arc over the last fucking 2 or 3 years and what he's been able to achieve. If he can somehow get this team off the canvas when he returns,
I think he can,
and they can just go to, what would you be happy with, Mitch? I mean, Lukey, about 50%, winning 50% of the games that he plays in to finish off the year.
Yeah, what's that get you? About 10?
About 10 wins.
Yeah. No, 10th.
10th?
Yeah. They can if they can just drag a couple of wins here and there, right? Just one, they're going to lose most of the games, right? But then they can just be in the fight. This one in the fight for fucking 20 minutes, right? And then it's done. The week before, in the fight, you end up winning the game, but then you got to... Mitch Moses is the key. He is so important to that team because he's a fucking top 3 half. And, you can build everything off his kicking game, right? He's fucking... The end of last year, he's the king.
Everything else falls into place.
Everything's got to be for Moses. And, he's got to love that pressure. Fuck it. He was going to try and come back and get that origin spot as well.
True. Yeah,
he won't have long to do it.
Yeah.
It'll be like
doesn't take him long.
Fuck it. He went from origin to a test.
All right, let's get to the Storm. 42 defeating the Warriors 14. If you are a young coach out there or if you are a fan of either of these two teams, if you follow this podcast as well, you know how much I love a good presser. Go and watch the presser from both Bellamy and Webster. Bellamy, if you want to watch a coach and what it means to have standards in a club and the disappointment in which they played in the second half. And then if you want to go watch Andrew Webster, he will give you a great indication of why it's important to have accountability as a coach. And that brings out the best in the team as well, because Bellamy talked about he was frustrated about how clinical they were to start with, and this is the second time, and it happened against the Eels where they've sort of let a big first half lead slip and been beaten in the second half. And there were a couple of journos that were trying to press Webster and get him to use the refereeing as an excuse.
Why do they fucking do that?
And he just doesn't use that, mate. He's so accountable for the actions. I love the way he lets Mitchie Barnett communicate as well and also actually proper listens to him. They're two of my favourite coaches to watch in presses because of these two things, and it could be something different in the next couple of weeks, but just the way they handle it's really impressive. So if you're a fan of both, go and watch both of them. It's what sort of makes them
give you the reason why they reckon they've fallen off in the second half. Jerome Hughes is off.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. And then Wishart comes on. Just fucks everything up.
Yeah, they definitely lost the flow.
Yeah, Jerome Hughes is an absolute gun. Everything he does is unbelievable. The skill from Harry Grant to fucking Munster to Hughes to Pappy, the ball skills. I'm once he's off,
he unlocks everything, doesn't he?
Yeah, once he's off, Wishart can do a job, but he's nowhere near Jerome Hughes. There's a reason why he's a top 3 half in the game. He is an absolute gun. And they were blessed. They're in a beautiful position yesterday when you could actually rest him. And that's the only reason why they didn't put fucking 60 on these blokes.
They said that they were, Belly said that he was good to go in the second half, and they just said 36, yeah.
I think he did an AC or something like that. It's going to be probably pretty sore. But, I just don't. That's the reason why they fell off. Yeah. It ain't because of, a lack of effort, And the half time, you're getting done 36-0. The Warriors are going to come out and go, everyone's got pride. You're fucking going to come out and try and change the game a little bit.
You know the scary part of this game? I think Munster play pretty average. I reckon Hughesy was he's the link, but he didn't really do anything crazy except sort of just, dictate where everything went. And Pappy come up with a couple of try assists and shit, but nowhere near what he was capable. That's scary because
and I thought
they still had plenty left in the tank.
Their back five, outstanding. Coates was just on another level.
Yeah.
I just think, and they did enough in that first sort of 25 minutes, 30 to blow the team off, and then they were good defensively. But some of their that left to right pass that Pappy threw, 20 metres. Hit the winger
left to right, Grant Anderson.
Yeah, just hit him on
double cut out over
just
the top.
Not even spiral, boom. But the first ball from Harry Grant cut people out, boom. He catches it here, not here, not here, here, and then just goes boom, little flick.
It was nice, yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful to watch, and that's the skill set. That is just, it's way better than any other team, how they execute when they're on. And everything else was just Stefano, Katoa getting ball, Blore getting ball, Liero getting the ball, and then Big Kamikamitha coming on, just they fucking smash me. I'll get you any way they want.
Still no Big Nelson.
Still no Big, exactly. They're still dominating you.
Is it their comp to lose?
Yes, they scare the shit out of me. I want the Bulldogs to win more than anything, but I'm worried about one team only, and it's those fuckers.
Yeah. Yeah, I was watching the first half. It was 36-0, and I'm writing down my notes as we're calling it, and I was like, Pappy's beautiful pass. Agree. That was nice. Harry defined him. Harry was probably the best out of the big four. But, I said, Money hasn't done anything. Hughesy's been there a bit.
Enough, but
he injured his shoulder and then he kicked the 40-20 straight after that. But still, like nowhere near how damaging they can be.
Still.
They're in a canter and winning 36-0.
But they, like, I looked at when you're saying about Money, he still looked sharp. He was creating a lot. Just because he wasn't making line breaks and that, those last passes, the short balls, the setup, the come back to the open, like he was outstanding.
Maybe
just because he wasn't making line breaks and shit and killing everyone, he was the linchpin in that 30-minute demolishing.
Maybe I was off him because I had him my super coach captain.
You probably did, yeah.
And he let me down.
That's it.
Only 50 points.
That's the only reason. When I'm watching Money, like just how what I'm looking at, just eyeballs, I'm like, he's the king.
Yeah.
He made that team. But Harry Grant's blazers, Jerome Hughes' width.
Yeah.
Pappy just splitting both sides. Liero does his job. Katoa does his job. Katoa's one of the best back rows in the comp.
Yep.
Sean Blaw's an animal as well.
Yep.
Coates. I think they had a young centre in there. I think the 4.
Moses Leo, the rugby
Did his
union
job.
convent.
Yep,
He was nice,
job.
wasn't he?
Who's that? I always forget his name. The 3. Who's the
Grant Anderson?
No, the other one.
Howarth.
Howarth. He's a problem.
The left edge coach.
He's a fucking problem.
I watched them last week when they were attacking down the corridor in the first half. You got Coates on the left, Jack Howarth and Sean Blaw in and around Money. They are a huge left edge.
It's a problem.
Huge left edge, mate. And they're all young too. They're all like
And they love it.
They're all like 20 to 25.
Yeah, Nelly. Oh, mate, it's a beautiful team to watch. Beautiful team to watch.
For the Waz. So the start of the year, there are a couple of games that they've really done a good job scrambling defensively. But on the edges, there have been these little half chances for both the Roosters and the Manly Sea Eagles, and even times against the Tigers where they weren't really punished. When I was watching the Melbourne game last week, I was thinking to myself, I don't care who the Melbourne Storm are playing next, on a good day, on a Sunday afternoon or a day game, they're going to tear them to shreds. And then I've seen at the midweek or when we're doing the team, it's like, oh, fuck, they're going to play the Warriors. They could proper skin the Warriors. So it's almost like, how do I say it? Like you don't completely forget the game, but you almost do. Like Melbourne are the level that everyone should be chasing. Warriors have been much improved, but it just shows where they're at compared to, and they're in a chunk. They're in this big chunk in between the competition where you just can't get a read on who they're going to be week to week.
Yep.
Sorry, no, that's wrong actually. Where they're going to finish and how they're going to win games, because I think they're more consistent than a lot of teams. Like I'd even say their effort and how they turn up each week is better than like a team like Manly, a team like the Gold Coast, a team like the Dragons. I've got more faith in the Warriors turning up with the right attitude. Just the personnel and the execution is...
You know what is very evident in playing a good team defensively? Their halves. The Metcalf and Chanel.
Yeah.
They just look fucking nowhere near it. No organisation. They just like Metcalf were just dummying, running the other side of the ruck, you know what I mean? When everyone's saying, oh, yeah, look good against average defences. When you play against the big dogs, right, that's when they need to really shine and show structure and everything like that, where it was all over the shop. It didn't look like they didn't look like scoring a try.
No.
It didn't look like scoring a try.
And it broke them when they didn't.
Yeah, and it was just like they just dummy and go, like got real selfish, and I was just like, you're not going to do that against it. If you get to the semi-finals, you're going to get exposed. They got exposed.
You know who's the key? Going back to it, it's Egan. If you control their ruck, you control the Warriors. Because
of course,
especially for the Warriors fans that are higher on Metcalf, and I reckon more Warriors fans have been calling for Tomato Martin as well, just as much as probably we have. But forgetting the halves, because they're just not at that point of their careers just yet, when you don't if you control the ruck and Egan's not able to have influence, it really just makes them look more human.
But that's exactly with every half that's a runner. I mean, every hooker that's a runner. What happens to Cookie and all those sort of blokes? Yeah. You dominate that, and then Fish Harris goes off for 15 minutes with a torn pec.
That hurt.
That fucking hurt.
Yep.
So all you do is just front load into everybody who's in the middle, and Egan can't run. He can't run because the way Melbourne is like embedded in their DNA is dominate in the middles and your best player. They just expose your weaknesses. They do everything. The amount of game plan and detail into every game is second to none. It's still the best in the comp. They've always been like that. So, like, even their middles and then on their edges, like, you think Belly's not just doing all this video and going boom, boom, they don't do this. That's where they expose you. They're so good. How do we take Egan out of the game, guys? Stefano, rip into Barnett, rip into the other guy, Bunty Afoa, all these guys. You just take them all out. And then that's what happens.
When Fish went down and did his peck and it looks like he's going to miss some time, the guy who come on was Jackson Ford. And then Jackson Ford got binned a couple minutes in. Yeah. So their entire middles just went to shit.
Well, Jackson Ford's he's playing edge, he can play middle, but he's not going to do much against Melbourne. Melbourne are on a different level. You need to play football against Melbourne. You need to pass the ball around, you hit edges and everything, like offloads, because they're so great in defence. You got to play a whole different game against Melbourne.
Yeah.
You can't just be one out. They'll just go fucking bang, 3 in, 7 second play the ball, next one's getting belted. You know what I mean? So you got to play a real different brand of football against these guys.
Yeah, their transition attack is so good.
It's fucking great.
They only have really one settler, and then they'll look to skin you.
They're taking they're giving you 3 or 4 shots at you. You know what I mean? So you need to be. They're working your middle over. They're working your edges over. They'll go back to the middle. Then they'll have a long shot at you. So you got to be. So your middles need to be working so hard, and it's hard to do. They're a full package team.
Via Moanga. Did I pronounce it right this time? Val Moanga?
Yeah.
Via Monga?
Via Monga.
And Halasima. Just love their energy off the bench. Yeah,
they still go hard.
It was
young bucks, not scared of anything.
Halasima fucking blowing a kiss to the crowd after he scored a try when they're down
40-0.
Fuck some of these young players.
I don't give a fuck, mate. Yeah. I'm just like, we as old school players, I'm just like, don't do that. And that's up to Webby, and that's up to senior players like Fish. Don't do that.
I think it's gone past that now. Yeah. Just the young players are going to do it regardless.
No. If you have a chat with these guys, they won't do it.
Okay.
I'm telling you, if Fish goes, don't blow a kiss, mate, when we're up 40, when we're getting beat 40, he won't do it again.
Yeah.
And even if Webby goes, don't do that. In the situation, right?
Yeah, situation.
If we're up 30-something nil, do what the fuck you want.
Well, he blew the kiss on scoring the winner against the Tigers, remember, as he was just about to dive around.
I love it. Yeah, do that. But like not down Melbourne.
Yeah.
In Melbourne, 30, whatever, 44-16, whatever it was. Yeah, this is a place for it. You can do what you want. Young kids do what you want. Be about it, but like just know the score. Just know the score and know what's happening. You're getting pumped.
I know it's his first game back and they got pumped, but and he had to play out of position. It's good to see Rocco Berry back. I think he's going to be an important part for him. He's just a solid first grade, I reckon, Rocco Berry. And
sucks. He's a few injuries. I want him just to string a good year together. He did when they had that really good year, 2023. He was one of the best centers in the game.
And I was surprised that they moved Leitao from the right because I thought he was starting.
He's been killing it.
He's been killing it on the right.
It fucked him.
Yeah,
it ruined their attack.
And then you're building a combination with Tuapiki as well.
Yep. Yeah. I didn't like that.
Yeah, either did I.
Because he's 100% right arm carry as well. Right foot in and away, left palm. Like he's got that flick pass. He's got a lot. I would never have. I wouldn't have put him on the left.
All right, let's get to the Tigers 20 defeating the Knights 4. The Tigers are opposite to Panthers. They have been down the bottom for so long that now they are starting to win a few games. They've won 3 from 3, and I know they had 2 losses before this, but just the energy that they carry.
They should have won this first round too.
Yeah.
There should be only 1 loss I'll give them.
Imagine the Knights game if they get that first game.
The Brisbane guys got them, and that's about it.
Yeah. And they're happy to let you know. Like, they're the opposite of the Panthers. Like, you know how teams are coming after the Panthers? Tigers are going after games, and if they get in a position where they can let you know, like, they got some shit about them, eh? Like, and I like it. Like, I'm all for it. It is what it is. Like, if you want to,
you know why? Because they've got Luai. He's about that shit. You see Peake Penrith? Who's the fucking ringleader with that? With the yahooing and like getting in and in people's faces, and when someone's does something well, bang, big cheers, like disrespecting the person who ever dropped the ball. Like you could just hear, you fucked up if you drop the ball. Then you hear what they're saying and yahooing, and that pisses you off. You can't do anything about it.
I see your Jerome Luai and I raise you Tito Taruva. Now
he's fucking there too.
Now it's little Taruva from the wing.
Coming in.
Jerome was the OG. He passed all his knowledge.
All of it.
All his shit down to Taruva, and Taruva was doing it at Penrith. Anytime Taruva gets an opportunity to run in and let people know.
Like, where'd he come from? It was in the middle, and Taruva's in there nearly in a fight and pushing people over, and like, I love it because that's infectious, right? And I love it because Luai's bought that. And it's like, that's exactly why they paid 1.2 mil for that man there, because it's the infectious and what he does to all these other young kids, all the young brothers and everything like that. Luai's their fucking dude, right? And he gets out there and he plays with such a level of just like intensity and energy. He just doesn't stop, right? And whenever something happens, they celebrate it. Yeah. Right? You got to celebrate it, right? And I see that, just say, with the Bulldogs a little bit, right? Where Ciro was big on the littlest things, right? Someone drops a ball, you want the whole team in there celebrating it.
Critter brought that across.
Yeah, but that's what Ciro did anyway, right? Before he goes, but no one was really buying in because you're getting fucking beat, so it sucks. Yeah. Then last year you see it, right? When everyone starts to win, you drag some bloke out the sideline, the whole fucking team is there. You can't. It's demoralising for the kid who just dropped the ball or whatever, but fuck him. You know what I mean? Yeah. You let him know about it. Yep. And you're tapping everyone on the back of the shoulder and everybody goes, fuck yeah. You know what I mean? Then the next set you get the ball and you try and get, it's so infectious what that energy is like, and that's what it's about. And that's why you got that. That's why you got Taruva. Taruva's finishing unbelievable. When he's out there. He's one of the best finishers in the game. And then it adds into the middle. So the middles are like, all right, I got to do something now.
Finu.
I need to go. Bolle, bang. Appy, bang. 2 mistakes. Fucking through massive hits.
Yeah. Samuela Finu was the one.
But they all three of them, boom, 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 and then everyone's in, fucking celebrating it, and it's like you hate it, right? You hate it because it's at McDonald's Stadium, right? And it's in front of all these Newcastle people, and they fucking would hate seeing that shit. And then the whole, you quiet the crowd down, and then you fucking get them by 20-0. And
you know what's more frustrating? When you're a team like a Newcastle or a team that's middle of the pack, and you don't think they're those dudes. Like, you think that they're fucking talking way more shit than they should be, and they still do it, and they beat you in the fashion that they beat you. That's the most frustrating. Whereas if, like, just for example, it used to piss me off watching the Penrith Panthers of the past, but you knew they were guns. Like, at the moment, the Tigers, you can't do shit. And it's just like, all right.
I love that because, like, I've been in teams where I'm like, I will fuck you up physically and mentally. You can't do anything. Yeah. Because, you're so dominant in some games. Like, we were playing and, like, we would just back each other to the hill, right? And just be like, you got a team like with Roy Asatasi, myself, Marco Mealy, Andrew Ryan, Sonny Bill, Rennie Matua, in one fucking team, in one pack. I don't even fuck about the backs. One pack taking you on like that, and then just like we go against the Roosters and Penrith and that, and it was just a bash up. But like, no, you don't, regardless of who's going to win, it's still on, right? A fight could be on, anything could be on, and the Tigers are like that. Penrith was like that, right? Penrith were like us, they were like that for 4 or 5 years, and they're just taking that because I know that Luai was the leader of all that shit. He was always that one that was always in people's faces for the last, just say if you go back to 2023, someone gets dragged out at Penrith Stadium, he's standing over you, Allen Iverson sort of style, right? Standing over you. It's so disrespectful, but you can't do shit about it. Just say, when we were playing, you do that stuff, you're going to get in a fight, right? But they know you can get away with a hell of a lot without you can't get in a fight. And it's frustrating for that other team.
I think he's a little bit more subtle in it than he used to be.
Yeah, way more, but he's still got it. He's the ringleader to everything. So he's got his little boy Taruva coming in out of nowhere, and then you got Terrell Maisy. He's growing up fucking like that. Bolle,
Yeah.
Fainu.
Yeah.
You know, Sathar's got some shit in him.
Yeah.
You know, the only one who doesn't say shit is Alex Twal. Doesn't say anything. Makes 40 tackles and fucking 20 hit-ups. Just bang. He's about it.
He sort of just floats.
He just like fuck. He'd be. Apparently, he's one of the fucking greatest blokes in the world. He'd be just going, how good's this?
Yeah,
We're fucking winning games.
Yeah.
And I'm just not getting, you know, I'm still not scoring.
Who else has been there through the whole stint? Twal?
Dewey. Fucking not many now. They're all nearly gone.
Safefar's been there
for 2 years, mate.
Nah, Safefar's been there since Benji played, 5 or 6 years now.
Bullshit.
Yeah, but he's in and out of first grade for a long time.
Yeah, but he's been in 2 years. I'll give him last year and this year.
Safefarth.
All their Bolle and that's been coming through the new era. The new sort of era. They're all gone.
Yeah, I don't count the young guys that played for the last 3 years.
No. Safefarth only hit the scene last year.
You're right. 12 deserves it probably more than anyone. And Dewey.
Yeah.
Dewey, good to see
the
them.
The wingers are new. The fullback.
Young. Buller.
You got something?
No.
So Galvin's new, everyone's new. So it's a whole new era there. I'm fucking happy for the Tigers.
What about like we've talked about it before, Jerome Luai and Apia the control, and then Galvin and Buller can just play. It's a great balance.
Galvin's just like everywhere, isn't he?
It's a great balance.
You know, like he just tests you. I mean, he doesn't make complete line breaks or anything like that, but he's just this little skinny, little gangly thing that's faster than you think, stronger than you think, right? So he finds gaps, spaces, not faces. He knows what's going on.
Yeah.
He's always around for a little offload, backing up and everything like that. So he's just testing. And he's the fittest bloke in the team, right?
Yeah.
So's Luai. So's Appy. They're fit. They look fit. A couple of years ago, not fit.
No.
All right? Now they've got some, Bolle's playing some big minutes. Terrell May's playing some big minutes.
Yeah.
So, Alex Twal's playing big minutes. Appy, like those 4 middles are starting. Then you can get the big boy off fucking, what's his name?
Royce Hunt.
Royce Hunt. He needs to get a little bit fitter. So I want 20 minutes out of that man because he can be destructive, right?
Yeah.
So he's coming on around the last 15 minutes, but against a good side, they're going to get tested.
He's played a couple of good games now. Sione Fiona.
Yeah. Fainu. 17.
Yeah.
Absolute weapon.
Yeah.
Played probably his best game. I think I've seen him play.
Pretty good.
Fucking left foot, like making some semi-line breaks and I like that.
Yeah.
So those young kids who've been in the system for a while now, they've got a little bit of taste of first grade the last couple of years. 50 gamers now, sort of semi that. Now they feel like they belong.
He was the first Fainu that was at the Tigers too.
But then
Latu and Samuel ended up coming over.
But now they think they're coming into games going, I belong in first grade.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's a different mindset. I can actually play really well in first grade instead of going, fuck, I'm happy to be in first grade.
Yeah.
I'm not happy to be in first grade anymore. I want to dominate first grade. So that's the young brothers that are coming through. Jareen Buller's a fucking gun. Class, big, strong, athletic. He's class. So you got when it comes to the key positions, they're fucking up there.
All right, let's get to the Knights. 4 points in 2 weeks is just crazy, right? For a team that's led by and still got Kalen Ponga in the team. And
they haven't figured it out.
And last week they get a pass against the Bulldogs because the circumstances of losing a front row before you're running out and then a winger 2 minutes in or 3 minutes into the game. You can understand backs against the wall. Yeah, their halfback played the entire second half with a fucking dislocated finger that he couldn't get put back in. So you give him a pass against the best defensive team in the competition.
Okay.
20-4 at home at McDonald Stadium.
Only just too in the last fucking 3 minutes.
Really should have been 20-0 again. Yeah, that would have been crazy. Imagine back-to-back 20-0s.
That's what I was thinking.
Anyway, I was listening to presser after, but I want to get to a point that I remember watching this last year. So I think even Adam O'Brien came out and said they have a real negative mindset to last tackles where they very rarely compete in the air on tackles because what they want to do is they want to play the percentages. They want to kick into corners, wait for the guy to land, make the tackle, and then drive him back, and then start their sets. Watch their games. They very rarely get up and try to tap it back like other teams do, because I guess it's around just making it messy and making sure they've got a good defensive line. And the other thing is that they very rarely put in a kick on the last attacking across the ground. Same sort of mindset. Defensively minded. They don't want to turn the ball over.
Why?
And go 7 tackle sets.
All right.
I think that all that factored in is they're just playing a really negative style of play. So they were 8 from 8 to start this game, right? And they're trying to complete and play high percentage, but when it's not coming off and you're
one
not,
out, one out. Fucking play footy. They look like fucking Penrith.
It's very
Johnny Lang 4 up for a bomb.
Yeah.
It was just like, but Johnny Lang had a gun team. Like you had like some big boys. I mean, Johnny Lang about at Cronulla when he had big Jason Stevens and all those sort of blokes. And then he went to Penrith. He had like Martin Lang. He had Pulatua, Nullaval, all these sort of blokes. So like his basic was just like, but these guys were destructive forwards.
Yeah.
Newcastle ain't got that.
Well, I reckon the Broncos could adopt that and win games.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But you got to have that. You got to have those big dogs. We could do. We were doing that for up. Just say if we wanted to get out of yardage, just like or in the middle of the field, boom, 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 get on the fucking on a kick chase and get them stuck there. But like I was looking at that attack yesterday, I'm like, how can you have so much strike power with a Bradman Best, with a Sharp and a Ponga? Simple. Those 3 guys.
Figure out a way to get
Figure out a way. Sharp doesn't know what he's doing out there. You know what I mean? He's just out. Is he out the back? Is he the first receiver? Is he the second receiver? Is he running block plays? Is he doing this? Like what is he doing? Is he holding the right side? Is he holding the short side while Ponga's doing the left side?
So I'm going to blame the style then of play.
The style
this is why it's confusing.
Fucking awful.
I was listening to Adam O'Brien in the presser after, and he talked about. He goes, "We're playing too conservative." I found that strange too because like. I've watched Newcastle now for a couple of years, and my assumption would be they're playing that way because
coach that way.
You would like it felt like it was he wasn't taking any ownership for it. Like if the team's playing conservative like they are, then is that like not what you're directing them to do? Because then if that's not,
right?
If that's not, then that's even weirder. So I didn't understand that part of it. And with the Fletcher Sharp. He's always going to be a ball running. You think about at the start of the year when he had some nice moments. It's quick play the balls. It's playing, just getting the ball and going as soon as he gets an opportunity. But
looks predictable. They look very predictable.
If they are going to play conservative style, then he should just go predominantly out the back of shape and Kalen play on ball all the time.
Yep, that's what they need to do. They need to get back to Kalen Ponga is their best player and just say if you get to the middle of the field or the left post, right post, open it right up with their middles. They can play with Leo Thompson there and hopefully when Saifidi comes back, you go boom, you can play out the back, too Sharp or to like what's her name, Phoenix. I don't know who's the other guy?
I think Phoenix because Cogger missed the game.
Yeah,
Phoenix plays half again and Brayley plays. If they play on the right side, then that's when Kalen should get out the back of the back rower. But if they play on the left, Kalen should play on ball every time and have Fletcher Sharp out the back of shape.
Yeah, that's the thing. And that should be all the time.
Yeah.
Like it just looked like they were on different pages every single time. They didn't look like making a line break. Didn't look like it. When Kalen Ponga, all you're trying to do was get like just say if it's a 5-5 split and Kalen can just get around on the block shape and he's around, he skins the fucking the C defender and then Bradman Best. That's nearly unstoppable when they execute that. But what they need to do,
if they play long shifts as well and they get to say just like outside the post and you get all 3 involved, I would still get Fletcher Sharp to sweep all the way out the back of the shape, play Phoenix on ball every time. He's the first receiver or the middles or whatever it may be to Kalen for the second pass and make sure Fletcher's out the back of shape on the right.
And then Kalen can run that. Yeah. Kalen can run those plays.
Yeah. He's got to be the guy that touches it second.
He can nearly hit those shapes where like Bradman Best can be the lead.
Yeah.
And then Sharp out the back.
You
know, especially on a short side, like a 20-meter thing, and you can open the side up that way, and then you can just say Kalen go around and like that little play with where you were saying, like with the Tupou play.
Yeah.
Tubes play, just boom, 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 little quick hands down the short side. You can nail that easy.
Yeah.
But I just think they looked off. They just really looked off. I'm like, it wasn't a good style of play what they're doing.
No.
And who's the fucking wingers? Catch the fucking ball. Hold the ball.
Yeah, they turned it over.
Smash you like four mistakes, mate. Like that is just ridiculous. And even the other kid, like I know he's played his second game, but Marju, mate, that's the knock on him. You can't just be in this unstoppable sort of like runner finisher and everything like that. In contact, everyone's going to hit you. Hold the ball.
Yeah,
hold the ball like it's 4 times. You know, like and just it's not good enough. You're an NRL player. You played 100 games, mate. It's fucking clubland.
Yeah, if you know you've had an error early, then you just got to really be even more conservative.
So conservative. I don't want to take your running game out of the game, but you run fucking harder and you hold on to that ball. You're losing it in contact.
O'Brien said after the game that he said maybe a few of them got the yips, like they started to get nervous.
What's he talking about?
Anyway, all right, that's it for this week. We'll see you on Thursday for the preview, eh?
Yeah.